Good evening, America. I'm Gary Franchi, and this is the Raw Feed for Thursday, April 17th, 2025, day 87 of Donald Trump reclaiming the White House and restoring America's rightful place as the undisputed leader of the free world. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because tonight's show is like political dynamite wrapped in red, white, and blue wrapping paper. We've got bombshells that will leave the mainstream media scrambling to catch up for weeks. But first, I want to talk about something that makes this show completely different from the corporate media propaganda machine. You. Yes, you. Watching right now, you are part of the broadcast. Our live chat isn't just background noise, it's the pulse of real Americans speaking truth to power. So throughout tonight's show, we'll be featuring your comments on screen for millions to see. Yes, your super chats and Rumble rants will be read between segments because unlike the elitists at CNN, we actually care what you think. Now, do me a favor right now. Text the stream to at least 5 people that you know. That's right, 5. The algorithms are actively suppressing us, but they can't stop direct person-to-person sharing. Bypass the digital censors and help us spread the truth like wildfire. Now, we're streaming simultaneously on YouTube, Rumble, and X, so follow us on all platforms before the digital purge comes for us. And trust me, they're already sharpening their knives because tonight's nuclear truth bombs include a stunning revelation about those failed Trump tariffs that has globalists absolute meltdown mode, and the numbers are going to shock you and vindicate everything you have believed about America first. We'll expose the jaw-dropping Democrat scheme to defend MS-13 gang members while ignoring murdered American citizens. What one senator just did will make your blood boil, and Hillary Clinton has just crawled out of her hole. Also, President Trump's Golden Dome defense system has the military-industrial complex in panic mode, and once you'll hear why, you'll understand the desperate attempts to stop it. And RFK Jr. just dropped a health freedom earthquake on Washington with autism statistics so alarming they could upend the entire medical establishment. The pharmaceutical cartel is terrified. And after decades of silence, the 9/11 debate has entered a new chapter with evidence that can no longer be dismissed as conspiracy theories. The questions aren't crazy. It's the cover-up that is. And Trump's latest statements on everything from the Federal Reserve to foreign policy have sent shockwaves through global capitals. What he said about Jerome Powell nearly crashed the markets. And we'll blow the lid off the celebrity space mission that looks suspiciously like Hollywood fakery. Why is Katy Perry kissing the ground after an 11-minute joyride while her makeup remains flawless? Well, between segments, we're going to feature your voice because this is not just a show, it is a movement. Your super chats get priority, so if you want your comment featured, that is the way to do it. Now, Patriot shows like this are under constant attack. The regime doesn't want you hearing the unfiltered truth. That's why we need your support. You'll find the links to donate in the description. Every dollar helps us keep exposing what they desperately want hidden. We've also launched our channel memberships with exclusive perks, including special acknowledgement in the chat room, direct access to the Next News team as well, and behind-the-scenes videos and access to the 24/7 live chat room with members. Yeah, you can hang out with the Next News family, share your memes, your videos, your links, have live video chat and audio chat, and do all the things you guys want to do over there and have a lot of fun. It builds our family every single day. And of course, don't miss our explosive new merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Nothing triggers a leftist like seeing someone proudly wearing some Next News gear. So grab some popcorn, silence your phones, and prepare for several hours of pure, unfiltered truth bombs that will leave the mainstream media in the dust. Now, text the stream to 5 friends, okay? Have you done it? Confirm so by typing 1 in the chat room. This is the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi. Now, let's detonate some truth. Before we do, let's welcome you to the program. Jerome is here, Tony's here, Jeremy's here, Pothead Kenny, Sure You is in the house as well. The gang is all filing in. What's up, everybody? Who else is in the house? Duty to Rebel, 3% Prepper. Cindy is here. She has confirmed that she has texted out. Tiberius has texted out as well. That's how you do it, folks. It's by text message. I tell everyone this all the time. Let's take a live look at the White House right now. It is a beautiful and clear sky over there in Washington, D.C. As you can see, the White House gleaming in the setting sun there on the East Coast there in Washington, D.C. So beautiful, right? Let's keep going. Who else is in the house here tonight? We've got Carolyn is here. We've got Mike's son. What's up? Mrs. Podhead Kenny is here. Kathy from Kentucky. How's it going, Gary? 3% prepper? It's going pretty good. Pretty good. Rusty Boot Knife. Solar Flare Dragoon is here. Jimmy is in the house saying lame. Yeah, okay. I don't know what's lame, but whatever. Pothead Kenny says Gary rocks. Bearded Roofer in the house. What's up, Bearded Roofer? Let's go up to the top. Tom B420 is here. Mike's son. Paul Gnat. The song sticks to you, doesn't it, though? Villain is here as well. Wise Men Still Seek Him is here. Zigga Ground Zero is here as well. Michael is here. Were you in a dump truck? No, I was not in a dump truck. No. Okay, let's get into the news. We got a lot to break down tonight, and we don't want to waste any more time. Yes, President Trump's trade blitz is shaking the globe. What if everything the experts told you about tariffs was a deliberate lie? Well, right now, we've got the exclusive numbers that prove President Trump was right all along and the global economic order is being completely rewritten. While the mainstream media obsesses over polls and petty politics, something seismic is happening on the world stage. Nations that once laughed at America are now lining up to negotiate, and not on their terms. What is really behind the sudden change, and who's panicking in foreign capitals? And most importantly, what does it mean for your family's financial future? Well, the answers might shock you, and the implications for America's resurgence are nothing short of revolutionary. And as we step into 2025, one thing is absolutely clear. De-dollarization's not stopping. It's accelerating. China and other BRICS nations are scared of President Trump, and it's making them more determined to reduce their dependence on the U.S. dollar and establish themselves as global economic superpowers. What's their secret weapon? Well, it's gold. In fact, China resumed buying gold, and you know what's even more telling? They underreport their buys. Doesn't it make you wonder why? They recognize its global value and ability to withstand economic shocks. Well, gold is tangible, it's reliable, it's an asset that's immune to economic manipulation. In China and other BRICS countries, they want to be prepared, they just don't want it known. Noble Gold Investments can help you secure your financial future with gold, so visit nextnewsgold.com, it's linked down below, and with a qualified account, receive 10 1-ounce silver American Eagle coins, or call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347. And when Colin picks up, you tell him that Gary Franchi sent you personally. All right? Do me a favor. All right, let's jump into this. President Trump on tariffs in the briefing today. Let's jump right into it. We're taking in a lot of money, he says. Hell yeah.
You have to understand we're getting right now 25% on cars, 25% on steel, 25% on aluminum. We're getting a 10% baseline. We took that down just because it was, the appropriate thing to do until we decide what the number will be. And we're, taking in a lot of money, which we've never done before, frankly. With Biden, we were losing a fortune on trade. But we're moving along very nicely, and we're going to end up with a baseline of a substantial number, which we never got anything. The United States never got anything until I came along, and then I put very substantial tariffs on China, if you remember. And we took in hundreds of billions of dollars. You have to understand we're getting right now
hundreds of billions of dollars. And let's keep going. He says we've had numerous talks with the highest level of other countries. Listen.
Level, frankly. As you know, we've had numerous talks very, very at the highest level, frankly, with other countries. Yeah, we're doing very well, and we're moving along on trade very well. The United States was ripped off and taken advantage of by every country in the world, practically. I mean, I have to say practically, but just about everyone. That's not going to happen anymore, but we're going to make...
Nope, it's not happening anymore. And here is the president speaking to Giorgia Meloni, who is the Italian prime minister, who is in town in Washington.
I do like her very much. I think she's a great prime minister. I think she's doing a fantastic job in Italy. We were very proud of her. I knew her right from the beginning. I knew her as a very early prime minister, and I knew she had great talent. She's one of the real leaders of the world, and I'm very proud to be with her. I can't do better than that, right? We should end the press conference. I do like her.
And I guess the real question is, where's Elon Musk, right? You know, he's got a big crush on her. Maybe he's going to tap that later and have a new baby. You know, Elon likes to have repopulate the earth. He really takes it seriously. Let's keep going. We've got a reporter asking a question. This week, we saw Chinese President Xi Jinping visit with 3 of our allies. Should you be worried?
You have said in the past that you aren't worried about allies growing closer to China as a result of your tariffs. And this week, we saw Chinese President Xi Jinping visit with 3 of our allies. Should you be worried that they're growing closer?
No. Nobody can compete with us. Nobody.
You said that you have a relationship with President Xi. Why not pick up the phone and call him and make a deal?
Oh, we're going to make a deal. We'll have a deal. I think we're going to make a very good deal with China.
Do you plan to reach out to him and call him?
I think that you will see we'll make a very good deal with China.
Mr. President, you have said that
a big deal with China. China. Come on, just say it the way we want you to say it, President Trump. Say it. China. Let's keep going. And we've got this. Holden Kulata. Quoting Mike Rowe. Speaking about New Hampshire and North and South Dakota reviving the skilled trades. Buckle up. Let's see what this is about.
Manufacturing. If the president succeeds, either through tariffs.
I should point out this is from the Epoch Times. I love those guys. I'm a subscriber.
If the president succeeds, either through tariffs or sheer persuasion to bring manufacturing back to this country, you're going to see a flight towards skilled labor that I think is probably going to be unrivaled in the history of modern work.
Really quick, give me some examples of some of the work that people receiving these scholarships are doing, like maybe a handful.
Well, in the broadest way, I'm talking about any job that doesn't require a 4-year degree. The ones that seem to get the most focus right now, welding, electricians, HVAC, plumbing. There's plenty of opportunity in woodworking. There's plenty of opportunity in automotive repair. We just raised, a few weeks ago, we auctioned off a truck that these guys built in like an auto shop on steroids up in Ohio called Sugar Creek. I mean, this truck was amazing. And we took it to Barrett Jackson. And Barrett Jackson agreed to waive their fees, so we kept all of the money. And the truck sold for $1.5 million. They sent me a check the next day. So I got that sitting here, along with a pile of other money. And I only point it out because there's getting the automotive industry really involved in a public way in filling the 70,000 jobs that exist in their industry is no less important than getting the American submarine industrial base really involved in closing the little gap in their place as well. And so, you know, while I've had a chance to talk to some powerful people about a national campaign to elevate all this, and I'm still wide open to doing it, I think it's going to happen on the state level, too. Dakota's doing a great job, South Dakota and North. New Hampshire, I just met with Kelly Ayotte, the governor there. They've got a giant campaign to get trade schools back in schools and shop class back in schools. So it's only everything. It's only enormous. It impacts every zip code. It impacts every state. It certainly impacts our country. It impacts the way our country's perceived. It impacts the unemployment numbers, obviously, but the workforce participation rate as well. We're talking about the way we choose to define a good job. And there's a whole list of stuff we can't control, but we can control that. right? And that's a big part of what my foundation does. Yeah, the scholar.
Let's keep going, man. I love Mike Rowe. The guy's awesome. Here is the White House Faith Office Director, Jenny S. Korn, on the administration's Holy Week events.
Advisor, pastor. We're so honored to be here at the White House and to be with the White House Faith Office, as you know, newly created and historic by President Trump, and with our senior advisor, Pastor Paula White. So amazing. Was established with a 24-year relationship, and so now we're here at the White House with this amazing office. And this week already, the president issued a proclamation with the observance that Easter deserves, and sending out a presidential video message to celebrate with all Americans, holding a dinner with faith leaders of all denominations that includes prayer and worship, and then ending with a staff worship service here at the White House. So it's going to be an amazing week, and it already has been. We're so
Amen, man. This is great to see God welcome back into the White House after that 4 years of satanic rituals taking place. 30% of the country has no heart. Joe Biden is a liar. That's what Janine Pirro is screaming.
Okay, and who is the only person, the one person who has something to gain by Joe Biden going out there? Party doesn't want him. They want him off, and that nobody wants him center stage. It's Jill. Okay. And, the idea that he would actually come out and speak to a group of about disabilities is just rich. But to come to something a little more substantive, he slammed President Trump about Social Security. He said the president was plotting to cut and gut Social Security. The 30% of the country has no heart. That's us, of course, which is, a duplication of his soul of, the Soul of America speech with the military guys in the dark red behind him when he gave that speech where he said we're all MAGA extremists. The amazing part of it is that it was Joe Biden who saw the biggest increase in the number of immigrants given Social Security numbers, more than 2 million immigrants given Social Security numbers, illegals in 2024. And that doesn't even touch the destruction that he did to Medicaid, which allows virtually all illegals to get Medicaid. And he's turning it around and saying that Donald Trump is going to cut it. He's such a liar. Donald Trump.
Joe Biden, that's what he does. He lies to the American people. You and I both know the Doge team is cutting out the fraud from Social Security, making it stronger. Grace Chong posting this. Steve Bannon talking about you cannot take advantage of the MAGA movement. Let's check in with Steve Bannon.
Enforce all that. The reason the frustration of this audience and all the work and effort to get here, let's do something. Because don't think you're going to be here forever. You can't plan on that. Action, action, action. And I don't care about the FBI counterterrorism force, all that. That's not relevant now. We care about this, and we care about what Tom Fitton's suing about. What does it mean that a guy like Tom Fitton that couldn't be more supportive of people has to go to court and sue? You cannot take advantage of the MAGA movement and what the people that got here and what their priorities are. Their priorities are important, not your priorities, their priorities. Let's be blunt. You're there because of them. So their priorities should be your priorities. And that is not the case right now. And that has to change. It has to change. I repeat this. It has to change. It's revolting, disgusting.
So Steve Bannon clearly not happy about certain factions inside the MAGA movement at the moment, people taking advantage of it. But President Trump calls Jesus the Son, the living Son of God. Amen. Let's listen.
And nailed to a cross. Nearly 2,000 years ago, during the sacred week, the living Son of God entered Jerusalem in triumph. Soon after, the Savior of mankind, who brought truth and light into the world, was betrayed, arrested, and tried, beaten, and nailed to a cross and crucified. For our sake, he gave up his life, and as the very great Reverend Billy Graham once said, God proved his love on the cross when Christ hung and bled and died. It was God saying to the world, I love you. Those are beautiful words from a great man, Franklin, right? A great man, Franklin's incredible father. Nearly 2,000 years.
It is Holy Week, and the White House is making sure that America remembers it. And according to the latest polling, 18 to 21-year-olds are some of the most conservative people in the country.
People in the country.
Is like,
Here's Scott Jennings on CNN in one of those round tables.
met college students? Do they realize that when you're 18, what you think at 18 might change between 18 and 21?
Actually, according to the latest polling, 18 to 21-year-olds are some of the most conservative people in the country.
I think that is exactly.
So how is it that Harvard finds every non-conservative 18-year-old in the country?
Well, Scott, you've been to Harvard too. You
I've
know
been there.
that there are conservatives at Harvard.
Very
but
few.
you also know
I was treated like an exotic zoo animal when I was there.
But you also know that undergrads change their viewpoints over time. Why is the government coming in and
Well, it's
saying,
not like Harvard has
why is the government coming in and saying, well, if you don't admit this many conservatives, and then by the time you graduate, what if there are fewer conservatives? Oh no, is Harvard going to lose their funding?
Look,
what's going to happen, Scott?
I don't think you can set quotas for ideological testing or whatever.
That's what they're asking
That's
for.
obviously not what's going to happen. What I think this is all about goes right back to the issue of what these colleges allowed to happen on their campus, both in terms of admissions and in terms of the way Jewish students were treated. He also said Harvard should apologize, and I agree. They ought to apologize to these Jewish kids that got terrorized after October the 7th, and they ought to apologize to the Asian students that were discriminated
you know that
against.
Harvard actually is
but of course Harvard isn't going to do anything. They're going to dig in, and they're going to lose their funding. But the era of American apology tours is officially over. While China's Xi Jinping was meeting with our so-called allies this week, President Trump didn't flinch. He didn't panic. He simply reminded the world of an undeniable truth. We're going to make a deal with China, a very good deal. That's how you negotiate from strength. Meanwhile, the foundation of American prosperity is being rebuilt from the ground up. States like New Hampshire and the Dakotas are bringing back shop classes, welding, electrical work, plumbing, real skills for real jobs that can't be outsourced. Even polling shows 18 to 21-year-olds are now the most conservative demographic in America. They've seen the alternative, and they're choosing strength, sovereignty, and success. So here's the question. Why did it take so long for America to put itself first again? Why? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments and show off your patriotic pride with our exclusive merch from our Next News merch shop. It's linked down below, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, check in with Super Chats. What are your thoughts, guys, going in? Tony, and you make it different. You rock. Thank you, Tony. And Dark Skull Driver tap dat ass, he says. Clearly a reference to the Elon and Maloney crush that is somewhere happening in the world. And then we got 3% Prepper, who's just become a member. What's up? Welcome to the family. Okay, more news on the horizon right now. Where are we at? And let's see. T2. 1, 2, 3. This seems T2 seems like super light, Todd. Wait, T2 illegals. What am I looking at here? Okay, I don't know what I was looking at. Something maybe had to be refreshed. Okay, perfect. I don't know what I was looking at there. Okay, let's get into it. Can someone invest in your company? No. Something absolutely unprecedented is happening right now on Capitol Hill while ICE deports violent criminals. A sitting U.S. senator and a failed presidential candidate are actively lobbying to bring this person back. That's right. The details of the story are almost impossible to believe. Tonight, we're going to reveal what the mainstream media is desperately hiding about this MS-13 gang member's background and why Democrats are risking everything to defend him. But the most sickening part, the mothers of American murder victims have been completely ignored by the same politicians. Their heartbreaking stories completely silenced, their pleas for justice dismissed. So why would elected officials choose foreign criminals over American victims? What's really driving this pathological obsession? Well, tonight, we're going to expose the ugly truth. And while we watch the deportation drama unfold, let me tell you about something that helps real American families. You see, the border crisis isn't just about security. It's about economics. And Americans deserve good jobs. That's why I love PatriotSwitchNNN.com and what they're doing there. This American-made brand offers non-toxic household essentials trusted nationwide. But they're also creating a legitimate work-from-home opportunity. That's right, no commute, no corporate overlords, just honest income supporting American manufacturing, not foreign competitors. Now, here's the thing. They're hosting a Zoom call explaining how this little side hustle works, the earnings potential, and the time commitment. Now, this is what you need to do. After you watch this, register today at PatriotSwitchNNN.com before spaces fill up, and join a movement that puts America first. You'll find it linked down below. Okay, this just in, everybody. There she is. Hillary Clinton is back. Check it out, guys. Hillary Clinton defending an MS-13 gang member. Yes, a violent criminal. And she wants Americans of conscience to help stop this deportation. This isn't compassion. This is insanity. The question is, whose side is she on? Americans or illegals? This is what she posted. This is what she actually posted. Before the election, I warned that there's no safe haven under authoritarianism. If they can ship Kilmar Abrego Garcia to a foreign prison accused of no crime with no trial, they can do it to anyone. Americans of conscience must stand against this now. As of this report, 868,000 views. Oh, and who can reply? Only accounts that Hillary Clinton follows or mention. No, there's no replies. She shut off her comments because she knows she would get freaking roasted. I mean, she says accused of no crime. Actually, he has been accused of crimes. He had deportation orders. 2 judges ordered against this guy. The Department of Justice has already made it very clear. This is George Floyd 2.0, folks. And you're watching it. Hillary Clinton. And I decided to quote or subtweet or whatever you call it. I said, let's be real. If you or I aided a violent gang member, we would be locked up. But crooked Hillary, she's celebrated for it. This is not just double standards. It's a full-blown inversion of justice. So share this if you've had enough. And Bob Paulson has 3 little words for her that he posted just an hour ago. Oh, Bob Paulson, you can see what he has to say. And Jan, what is she saying? Oh, this is too good. This is too good. Such a pile of BS. When is Hillary going to realize she has become irrelevant? Grace, criminals defend criminals. What happened to America first? Well, Hillary does not believe in America first. Bitcoin Grizzly, I would gladly trade you for the MS-13 gang member. Hell, I think most of America would happily take an even dozen of them in exchange for you, you rotted old... Oh, my. Oh, wow. And Todd Jones points it out, too. Hillary loves having an echo chamber. Let's not forget she defended a rapist back in her early days as a lawyer, and points out that who can reply? Only accounts Hillary Clinton follows or mention. Yeah. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. What are the American people saying? Well, even CNN posted just a few hours ago on Rapid Response 47, most Americans support deporting all illegal immigrants. So despite what Hillary Clinton is posting about, the American people think otherwise. Listen.
Big part of the reason why deport all undocumented immigrants. Voters favoring the government trying to deport all 11 million of them. Back in 2016, just 38% of voters wanted the government to try to deport all 11 million undocumented immigrants. Compared to where we are in 2025, 56%, the majority. The American people have come a long way on this issue, much closer to Donald Trump, and I think that's a big part of the reason why Americans are increasingly saying the country is on the right track when it comes to immigration policy, and why Donald Trump's net approval rating on that issue is in the positive. Deport.
Americans are on the right side of history. Hillary Clinton is not. Here we have Insurrection Barbie posting this. Looks like a CNN clip. America is fed up with illegal immigration. Yeah, the fact check on that is true.
The New York Times, which is no conservative publication, did investigative reporting not long ago that looked at the Biden administration and concluded that the number of illegal immigrants that President Biden led into this country was the largest number of illegal immigrants in the history of the country, bar none. New York Times. Beyond that, this point about Scott just raised, the American people are fed up with illegal immigration, and they're particularly fed up with people who are criminals and also fugitives from the law. Tom Homan may get to the point where he's in schools or hospitals. We'll see if criminals are hiding there. They're not there yet. And the idea that somehow this is offensive to go after rapists, murderers, sex traffickers. But now those numbers are going to ramp up. I'll just make a prediction to you. Trump will increase those numbers well beyond what you saw under Biden. And lastly, there's 1 million plus fugitives beyond the criminals who've already been adjudicated, have already had due process, that are in the United States. So once they get done with the gangbangers, the sex traffickers, the weapons merchants, the other folks who are involved in heinous crimes, then they can get to work on 1.2 million fugitives who've already been adjudicated and get them out of the country. And when they get that all done, maybe we can get around to some of the other ones. The New York Times.
Let's keep going. Lawrence B. Jones displays some of the illegal alien monsters arrested in Chris Van Hollen's own home state of Maryland. Yeah, that's the guy that went down to El Salvador.
Of 6 states, so while the center focuses on issues overseas, what about his own state? Wow. In 2022, Maryland had about 300,000 illegal immigrants, and that's 5% of the state's population. Maryland is just one of 6 states, as you can see, that gained unauthorized immigrants between 2019 and 2022. Those folks were there illegally. And according to the White House, these are just some of who have been arrested or convicted of crime. As you can see, it's a long list of people. So while the center focuses on issues overseas,
long list
what
continues while Maryland Senator runs down to El Salvador. He is ignoring the crimes in his own backyard. Homeland Security posting this: for too long, America's borders have been open to the worst of the worst from around the world. President Trump and Secretary Noem have empowered ICE to remove illegal criminal aliens from American communities. 7 hours ago, New York.
Undocumented. Immigration and Customs Enforcement have put out a statement regarding what the agency is calling an enhanced operation targeting, quote, some of the most dangerous and egregious criminal offenders in and around New York City. ICE says its officers have arrested 206 alleged criminals who are undocumented over the span of 1 week this month. It says 121 had significant criminal convictions, including one person who's wanted in his home country and one with a homicide conviction in the Philippines. ICE says this immigration enforcement operation was focused mostly on suspected members of some notorious violent gangs operating here in New York. Immigration and Customs.
The Vigilant Fox posting a shocker. CNN admitted Trump is humiliating Biden on immigration, and they brought the receipts. CNN's own Harry Enton revealed the brutal truth. Look at Trump's net approval rating on immigration.
Order at minus. Why is Trump focusing on immigration? Let me just tell you, this is where Trump wants to focus. Pretty pleased with a cherry on top. Why is that? Look at Trump's net approval rating on immigration. Compare where we are now, compare where we were at this point in his first term. In his first term, he was underwater at minus 12 points. Look at where he is today. He's actually above water. This is one of his strongest issues at plus 1 point. And more than that on the net approval for him on this issue has stayed steady in the positive. This is an area where Donald Trump wants to focus because the bottom line is this is an area in which the American people, at least the bare majority of them, seem to like what he's doing.
And you've shown the impact on how people feel about his handling of the economy and what he's been doing. So let's stay here with this. Compare where he is on immigration to where Biden was. We know that this was why he leaned into immigration so much.
Yes, this is a big reason why. So take a look here. This is on immigration. What track are we on? The right track or the wrong track? Look in December. Look at the percentage who said we were on the wrong track. 62% of Americans when Joe Biden was in office, compared to just 14% who said that we were on the right track. Flash forward to April. Well, hello. 45% say we're on the right track compared to 42% who say we're on the wrong track. So in a big switcheroo from where we were back in January, the plurality of Americans say that the country is on the right track when it comes to immigration policy. Back in December when Joe Biden was president, the vast majority said that we were on the wrong track. Again, this points out that on the whole, Americans like where we're going on immigration policy under Donald Trump, which is...
That's right. We're going in the right direction. And ABC News, the wife of wrongfully deported, this is their words, ABC News, the wife of wrongfully deported Kilmer Abrego Garcia had a temporary order of protection against him in 2021 in which she cited domestic violence. Court documents show, at least they're pointing out, that he had a domestic violence case against him. Here's AG Pam Bondi shutting down a reporter who wants to know what the evidence is that Kilmer Abrego Garcia is MS-13. Multiple judges already ruled he was, and it doesn't even matter. Garcia is an illegal from El Salvador. He was deported to El Salvador, and he's not coming back.
Illegal alien.
Not show the American people the evidence that he's MS-13 so they can make an informed decision. And that goes the same with this Henry Josue Santos, who was picked up in Virginia, who is now presumably going to be deported as well. Why not show the public the evidence?
Well, he is an illegal alien who has been living illegally in our country from El Salvador. ICE testified, an immigration judge ruled he was a member of MS-13. An appellate judge ruled he was a member of MS-13. Hard stop. He should not be in our country. He was deported. They needed one additional step in paperwork, but now MS-13 is characterized as they should be, as an FTO, as a foreign terrorist organization. So he is not coming back to our country. President Bukele said he was not sending him back. That's the end of the story.
That's the end of the story. There is no debate. So, Hillary Clinton can scream and cry on X all she wants. Senators can go down to El Salvador and try to raise hell, but it's not going to change. Here is Insurrection Barbie posting the mother of Kayla Hamilton, a young autistic woman who was brutally murdered by an illegal alien MS-13 member, speaks out about the callousness of Senator Van Hollen in his trip to El Salvador.
Garcia.
In Maryland.
Tammy Nobles is a mother outraged over the actions of a senator.
I never heard anything from him, no condolences or anything about Kayla.
Nobles speaking out after learning about Maryland Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen's sudden trip to El Salvador with hopes to bring back Kilmer Abrego Garcia, the man mistakenly deported from the U.S.
I told his wife and his family I would do everything possible to bring him home.
President Trump's administration has called Garcia an MS-13 gang member who was in this country illegally, like the man convicted in Noble's daughter's murder. Noble's tonight stunned by Van Hollen's trip.
His political priorities are screwed up because he should be concerned with the American citizens in Maryland instead of chasing this guy that's not even here legally. These are vicious criminals. MS-13 is a very violent gang who does not care who you are.
Noble's daughter, 20-year-old Kayla Hamilton, an autistic young woman who was killed by Walter Martinez, an MS-13 gang member who was in this country illegally from El Salvador.
Yeah. That's who the Democrats are defending. That should tell you all you need to know, right? Unbelievable. Makes your blood boil, doesn't it? Here we have Harrison Fields. Man I've interacted with at the White House on numerous occasions. Had this to say with Jesse Waters regarding the illegal immigrant who was deported. Not wrongfully deported, as the news media would like to tell you.
I mean, we have a stack of paper. The media has zero credibility. And I'll tell you this, when we talked about Rachel Warren earlier today and MS-13, a USA Today reporter came into my office in the West Wing and said, the evidence that Caroline Levitt mentioned, is that the only two things that you can point to? And I said, are you kidding me? Are you out of your mind? That's the only two things. He's a woman beater. That's USA Today.
I mean, we have a stack of papers so high from detectives and from judges in Maryland, a blue state, on Garcia. It'll make your eyes bleed.
The media has zero credibility, and I'll tell you.
Zero credibility. Let's keep going. We got more to break down. Here is Scott Jennings bringing Abrego Garcia back and deporting him again.
On
Scott,
CNN. The Wall Street Journal editorial page puts it this way. They say Mr. Trump would be wise to settle all of this by quietly asking Mr. Bukele to return Mr. Abrego Garcia, who has family in the U.S., but the president may be bloody-minded enough that he wants to show the judiciary who's boss. If this case does become a judicial showdown, Mr. Trump may assert his Article 2 powers not to return Mr. Abrego Garcia, and the Supreme Court will be reluctant to disagree. But they say Mr. Trump would be smarter to play the long game. He has many, much bigger issues than the fate of one man that will come before the Supreme Court. By taunting the judiciary in this manner, he's inviting a rebuke on cases that carry far greater stakes.
Interesting point. I don't know what they're going to do. They do have an out here, as David just said, which is ultimately they could bring him back and then rearrest him and deport him somewhere else. And so for however long this plays out, they always are going to have that out, which is before it gets to the point of crisis or whatever you want to call it, they can bring him back and send him somewhere, maybe somewhere much worse.
Yeah, send him someplace much, much worse. Here is, look at this. Look at this. We've got Bill O'Reilly. Check out Bill O'Reilly. Here's his take.
And if you're going to, now I will warn the Democratic Party and the far left that this hombre is not what he appears to be. And if you're going to take his side, you're going to look stupid.
It's the George Floyd dynamic.
Coming.
George Floyd redux.
Yeah, it's worse. It's worse. And News Nation has led the pack, because the rest of them are lemmings, News Nation isn't, in saying, wait a minute, this guy's got a domestic beef against him. He was stopped in Tennessee with a bunch of undocumenteds in his van, transporting them. So be careful about this, far left kooks, because this is not what it seems to be. But overarch, I believe in our Constitution. If the Supreme Court issues that ruling and I'm president, I obey the ruling.
Okay, what else? The left seems okay with it. Here's Real America's Voice. In the press briefing yesterday, a woman lost her daughter, spoke in great deal. We covered this yesterday, but here's some more.
Exactly. So Rachel Warren's mother had a moment with reporters at the end of this press briefing where she stunned them after her story by turning around and telling them exactly what is wrong with the depiction of her daughter, mother of 5, raped and murdered, not an inch of her body that didn't have a hole, a bruise, a cut, or a contusion on it. Not an inch of her body. Her face bashed in on the left side, the back side, the front, the right. I mean, these aren't things we want to talk about in the morning on a morning show. But it needs to be said, Brian, because she had a message for reporters who were referring to this illegal terrorist, MS-13 member, as a Maryland father. Here's her message.
You know, the media can say all they want. All they want. But here is Stephen Miller setting the record straight outside the White House.
Stephen, is the president going to ask for him to be returned to the United States or not? Like, yes or no?
First of all, it's not a question for me to answer, but I think that the assumption that underlies the question is what needs to be corrected, which is that there was no mistake that was made. He was sent. So what? Let me ask you, what do you think would happen to him if he came back to this country? As your understanding of immigration laws, what do you think would happen?
But I'm just asking.
No, it's important to know. You're asking a lot of questions. You are all asking a lot of questions about this, and you all seem to care about it a lot. So let's see if any of you have researched anything about this issue at all. Can anyone here tell me what would happen to the illegal alien from El Salvador if he came back to the United States? Does anyone here know? Does anyone want to guess? Any of you?
He could be with his family.
What does any of you know the answer to the question? Legally, what would happen if he came back here? Does any of you know? Any of you?
Do you really
you've
believe
been
the
writing?
Supreme Court?
I'm talking now.
Do you really believe the Supreme
you need
Court
to stop. I'm talking now.
Doesn't think he
Does
should
any
be
of you?
returned? Why was it unanimous?
You're done. Does any of you know the answer to the question? Does any of you? You've been talking about it for days.
Would deport him again? No.
He would be arrested.
Okay.
He'd be put in confinement. He would be deported the second time to El Salvador again because there's no withholding order for an alien who's a member of a foreign terrorist organization, number one. Number two is the gang that he's a member of doesn't exist in El Salvador anymore. So what you're asking for is to be deported twice. But additionally, if we chose to just pretend that the withholding order was real, he would be deported to a different country. So, for example, he could be deported to Egypt. So I'm just trying to understand, is it your view, in other words, you have to find a country that would be willing to take a MS-13 member from El Salvador. So I'm trying to understand from you all is, so if he came back and under our laws, he was then deported to Egypt or to Somalia, would you then be saying, great, I'm so glad that you deported him to another country? Is that what you'd all be saying? Like, do you understand our immigration laws at all?
Sure, bring him back. Bring him back. What are you going to do? Put him in a safe house? ICE will show up again. I mean, he already has deportation orders. I don't even know why the media is so fixated on this guy. It's absolutely ridiculous. But that's where we are right now. And taking it all the way back to Hillary Clinton, right? I mean, she's even screaming that this is authoritarianism. Americans of conscience must stand up against this now. I'm shutting off comments so you can't have a debate and you can't drag me. Go back to your hole, Hillary. That's where you belong. Hell is missing a citizen. Now, ICE reports 206 criminal aliens that were arrested in New York alone this week, including murderers and sexual predators. That's 206 American communities made safer. That's 206 potential victims who won't have to suffer. That's what a functioning immigration system looks like. Yeah, CNN hosts like Dana Bash are visibly frustrated when guests don't condemn the deportations. Media outlets call Abrego Garcia a Maryland man instead of what he is, a foreign national with gang ties. And Senator Van Hollen has time to fly internationally for a criminal, but no time to call Patty Marin, whose daughter was brutally murdered by an illegal alien. When politicians care more about foreign criminals than American victims, what does it say about their priorities? Has the Democrat Party become so lost, so radical, they're willing to defend MS-13 members just to spite Trump? Comment below. And while you're there, hit the description and go to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and grab your limited edition Next News gear. We are living in frickin' clown world. That's where we are right now. Okay, let's see what you guys are saying. No additional super chats to speak of at the moment. $7? Man, I must be doing a horrible job tonight. Maybe we'll just quit the show. Maybe we'll just go work at Walmart or something. But that would be no fun. Okay, yeah, so what is up? Todd, can you get in there and clean up these bookmarks? I don't know what this is. You got TX, you got a null. I don't know what this is all. Like, what is going on in these bookmarks? Todd, please help me out here. I think we're in T3 here. Okay. Did you have the tests? The tests? For what? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Okay. I'm getting some feedback in one of the microphones that are open. I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay. Whose microphone is open? Todd, can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. All right. A classified Pentagon report recently concluded that the United States cannot stop a single nuclear missile from hitting American soil. Not one. Let that sink in. Tonight, we reveal President Trump's stunning response, a revolutionary defense system so advanced it's sending shockwaves through military and intelligence communities worldwide. They're calling it the Golden Dome. And if reports are accurate, it could completely transform global power dynamics overnight. But powerful forces are already mobilizing to stop it. Why? Who benefits from keeping America vulnerable? And which tech visionaries are defying the establishment to make this shield a reality? Well, the answer is, well, they might be the most important national security story of our lifetime. Speaking of protection, let's talk about protecting something else critical. Talking about your body's defenses. Just like America needs a Golden Dome shield, your skin needs powerful protection against aging. That's right, a groundbreaking 2024 study confirmed that daily collagen supplementation dramatically reduces wrinkles and improves skin elasticity. Now, this multi-collagen formula features 5 key types from 4 sources, essential for comprehensive skin support. It uses hydrolyzed peptides for maximum absorption, mixing effortlessly into your morning coffee. Order today and receive free VIP coaching, a skin health ebook, and free shipping. Plus, they donate a meal to a hungry child with every purchase. Get 51% off now at healthwithgary.com. It is linked in the description. President Trump has officially unveiled the Golden Dome missile defense system. Of course, the deep state doesn't want you to know about this revolutionary shield that will protect America from foreign threats. Reagan dreamed of it, but now the technology exists, and the military-industrial complex is mobilizing. Let's dig in. Okay, so Israel has it. Okay, they have, it's called the Iron Dome. Other places have it. The United States should have it too. And Trump confirms the technology exists. Reagan wanted it, but he couldn't build it. But now we can. The Golden Dome will be the ultimate shield against our enemies. This is America First defense technology. Check this out.
Ronald Reagan. As Commander-in-Chief, my focus is on building the most powerful military of the future. As a first step, I'm asking Congress to fund a state-of-the-art Golden Dome missile defense shield to protect our homeland, all made in the USA. And Ronald Reagan wanted to do it long ago, but the technology just wasn't there, not even close. But now we have the technology. It's incredible, actually. And other places, they have it. Israel has it. Other places have it. And the United States should have it, too.
That's right. Now, this vehicle is supersonic. Stage separation confirmed. While the fake news focuses on celebrity space stunts, real American innovation is happening. SpaceX continues to dominate as the foundation for our new defense capabilities. The transonic landing, how cool is that? Proves we have the tech. Watch this. I love watching SpaceX landings. I love it so much. I actually bought this from Elon Musk's SpaceX company. I mean, this is, now it's a model, but it's actually a lighter, so you can light your cigars with it. It has a massive blowtorch on the end of it. I haven't filled it up because I just like having it on my desk because it's so freaking cool. Okay, let's check out this video from SpaceX.
Sequence has started. Nice launch trajectory countdown. That pad is clear.
10, 9, 8.
Launch auto sequence has started.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go for launch.
I mean, this makes Blue Origin look like kindergarten class.
Stage separation confirmed. Dragon separation confirmed. Stage 1 is transonic. Landing like that deployed. And Falcon 9 has landed.
The coolest thing ever seen in the United States. Now check this out. A Chinese missile could hit mainland USA in less than 30 minutes. The booster phase, mid-course phase, and terminal descent give us a tiny window to intercept, and the Golden Dome system would change the entire game. They don't want you to understand just how vulnerable that we really are. Watch this.
Out of it as let's say a country like China launches a ballistic missile headed for the U.S. mainland. That missile, it goes through 3 unique phases on its way here. First, as soon as that missile is launched, it has the booster phase. This is when the missile is climbing up into the sky. It has fire and smoke coming out of it as it climbs in altitude, and this is exactly the phase where the missile is detectable. If you don't detect the missile during this initial phase, well, you're pretty much out of luck. It's going to be like finding a needle in a haystack later. Regardless, after the missile launches up high enough, the missile reaches the mid-course phase. It enters suborbital spaceflight and it cruises the space above our atmosphere in an arc on its way to the target. It then eventually reaches the apogee, which is the highest point of its flight path, before the warhead re-enters the atmosphere and makes its final descent to the target. And depending on where exactly this missile is launched from, this whole process can take less than 30 minutes. And so what that means in practice is that our missile defense system, it requires us to, within a 30-minute span of time, detect the Chinese missile during the booster phase and then somehow shoot it down with our interceptors during the mid-course phase. Let's say a country like China launches
so that's a little example of what the Golden Dome would do. Now, the globalist opposition is already attacking Trump's Golden Dome. Of course it is. Quote, they're saying it's ridiculous. It's not going to work. They say while admitting that North Korea could destroy Los Angeles in 30 minutes. They mock the project while defense contractors get rich. The truth is being hidden.
And therefore, Trump's first term, it was notable how he quickly, after being told what the threats to the United States were, wanted to talk to Kim Jong-un. And people were wondering why. Is that because it's their understanding that North Korea could destroy Los Angeles in a matter of 30 minutes, and therefore, rather than seeking peace, the military-industrial complex would immediately say, oh, well, what we need is a Golden Dome to protect us from North Korea?
Right. And right now, so yes, he was trying to make peace with Kim Jong-un and was until derailed by Bolton. But in this case, now that with the Golden Dome, I mean, he wants to make peace with Putin. And, one of the basic things between Russia and the United States is the missile defense system. In fact, this is why the disarmament that was proposed by actually Reagan and Gorbachev in their summit in Reykjavik, that we should just get rid of all nuclear weapons. And the thing that that got stuck there was the Reagan's pursuit of missile defense. So by pursuing Golden Dome, this so-called shield, the Strategic Defense Initiative was trying to build. I actually am not paying too much attention to this anymore because it's ridiculous. It's not going to work. It's going to have so much money in it. So the money will be spent. A good amount of money will be spent. Defense contractors will get rich, and this lobby will get rich. And Donald and Trump can talk about this Golden Dome, which will please his Israeli counterparts and the Israeli military companies like Elbit and others. But beyond that, it doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot.
Trump's first term.
Okay, buddy, sure. Yeah, keep talking. You're only giving us more ammunition to prove you wrong. L3 Harris Technologies in Fort Wayne expanding for the Golden Dome. Congressman Stetson says we are at the cutting edge of technology. American jobs are being created while the mainstream media ignores it. Silicon Valley isn't the only place making America great again. Let's listen to this interview.
Yesterday.
Some pretty big news went down in Fort Wayne this week. L3 Harris Technologies announced plans for an expansion of its facility to support the U.S. military's Golden Dome initiative. Congressman Marlin Stetson was at the ribbon-cutting ceremony this week, and he's joining us live right now to share the latest.
Good morning, Kayla. I tell you, it was an exciting day yesterday out at L3 Harris. We always think of Silicon Valley as the place where technology, new tech is being manufactured and created. It's happening right here at home, right here in Fort Wayne, and it's creating jobs right here in our district, and we're at the cutting edge of technology.
Some pretty big news went down.
At the cutting edge, and today the United States cannot stop a single nuclear ballistic missile coming from China or Russia. The Claremont Institute is exposing the truth. How can China or Russia take us seriously when our population is completely vulnerable to attack? Wake up, America. Let's hear what Steve Bannon's saying.
Pacific. Brian Kennedy, the hemispheric defense, which somebody's got to tell, hey, Pete Hegseth, we got to understand the hemispheric defense. I don't know how we get $1 trillion budget on that. I'm not sure we need $1 trillion. All the way from Panama Canal to Greenland to the Arctic, out to the vast Pacific as a natural barrier to the 3 island chains. But maybe we get there because of what you're talking about. You have a special day on the Iron Dome for the United States. Is this an anti-ballistic missile system that you guys are talking about? And where do we go to get more information and actually watch this, sir?
Yes, Steve. Well, it's a Golden Dome, as President Trump said. And President Trump had an executive order directing the DOD to come up with a way of building a 21st century missile defense that would actually work. My colleagues at the Claremont Institute and I put together a webinar for this evening. It'll be on at 5:30 Pacific time, 8:30 Eastern time. It's going to discuss the whole Golden Dome concept that President Trump has advocated. Today, the United States cannot stop a single nuclear ballistic missile coming from China or Russia, or from Iran if it's from a ship off of our coast. I thought your discussion with Grant was excellent, and Grant's a brilliant guy. To underscore what you're saying, how serious can the Chinese or the Russians take us when we're going to leave the American population vulnerable to ballistic missile attack?
The Rod of God, Project Thor, is it real? Those Starlink satellites they told you were for internet could actually be part of a secret space weapons program. Pew pew from space. It's not just science fiction anymore, folks. How many lasers are already in orbit above your home? What?
You know that they have this thing called the Rod of God. Has anybody heard of this? Tell me in the chat if you've heard of this. The Rod of God, Project Thor, where you got this like Star Wars, pew pew from space. This is another thing that people are saying is real. When they sent those satellites up for SpaceX, it was, they have lasers on them, right? Now, the lasers are supposed to be for communication and everything else. But who's to say? How many sci-fi movies have we seen where they have this shield, this star shield over a whole planet, covers the Earth, Starlink? You can.
Well, maybe we're almost there, huh? From $430 billion to $5.3 trillion. That's what they're saying it could cost. But can you put a price on American safety? Multiple layers of defense, including boost phase interceptors, directed energy weapons, and hypersonic tracking. This is next level. Check this out.
Under President, the United States is taking missile defense to a whole new level. Introducing Golden Dome, a next-generation defense system designed to protect the homeland from the deadliest threats. Hypersonic missiles, ballistic warheads, and advanced cruise missiles. Originally called Iron Dome for America under President Donald Trump, this project has evolved into something much bigger. The Missile Defense Agency now calls it Golden Dome, a high-tech shield designed to intercept threats before they even reach U.S. airspace. Unlike Israel's Iron Dome, which specializes in stopping short-range rocket attacks, Golden Dome is built for a different battlefield. The U.S. faces advanced threats from countries like China and Russia, long-range missiles, maneuverable warheads, and even hypersonic weapons that move at over 5 times the speed of sound. So how will Golden Dome work? The system is expected to combine multiple layers of defense boost phase interceptors to stop missiles right after launch, space-based tracking to detect threats in real time, and cutting-edge technologies like directed energy weapons and cyber defenses. Hypersonic and ballistic tracking space sensor network detects threats instantly. Boost phase interceptors stops missiles early. Directed energy weapons uses lasers to neutralize attacks. Cyber and electronic warfare disrupts enemy guidance systems. But there's a big challenge covering the entire United States. Israel's Iron Dome protects a small area, but America spans over 3.8 million square miles. That means Golden Dome needs a vast network of satellites, radars, and interceptors working together in real time. We've seen ambitious missile defense projects before. The 1980 Star Wars initiative aimed for a similar goal, but was eventually scrapped due to cost and feasibility. Could Golden Dome be different? Some experts estimate that a nationwide missile defense system could cost anywhere from $430 billion to $5.3 trillion. And even if it works, adversaries could overwhelm the system simply by launching more missiles than we can intercept. And there's another concern. Will Golden Dome lead to the militarization of space? Some argue that putting missile defense weapons in orbit could escalate tensions with global rivals, potentially sparking a new arms race. The U.S. Space Force is playing a central role in Golden Dome, using advanced satellites and AI-powered tracking systems to detect threats earlier than ever before. This could be a game changer in national security. So, will Golden Dome become the ultimate defense shield, or just another costly experiment? The Pentagon is moving full speed ahead, but only time will tell if this next-gen system can truly protect America from the threats of the future. What do you think? Is Golden Dome the future of missile defense or an expensive gamble? Let us know in the comments.
Now, the deep state doesn't want the Golden Dome because a protected America can't be controlled. Will it trigger a new arms race? Is space about to be militarized? The U.S. Space Force is deploying AI-powered systems while the media distracts you with celebrity gossip. So, there you have it. The Golden Dome missile defense system, a revolutionary space-based shield involving up to 1,000 satellites that could finally end the era of nuclear vulnerability. We've learned that SpaceX, Planeteer, and Endural are teaming up on this Manhattan Project-level initiative, while critics are already calling it ridiculous, claiming it won't work. This isn't just another defense project, it's a fundamental shift in global security architecture. And for the first time, America could gain true immunity from nuclear blackmail, changing the entire equation of geopolitical power. Now, it's not operational yet, but the vision is alive, the contracts are being written, and America's technological superiority is being reasserted on the global stage. And Trump isn't waiting for permission to protect America. He's acting decisively while his opponents continue predicting failure, just as they've done with every major Trump initiative. So, before you go, hit the merch shop down below and show your support for the Next News Network. The Golden Dome, baby. How cool would that be? It would change the entire game, for sure. And what else is changing the game? You guys in the chat room. Let's see, we've got the super chats kicking. Our boy dropping 10, thank you. Keep up the great work. Heather Reeve dropping 10 as well. Gary, the Doppler test, you're doing fantastic. You're loved. Bri, Todd, and Angie, What's a Doppler test? I don't know what that is. Juan Ruiz, what? Are you freaking what? Are you what? 71 new members. How does that even... what? Juan Ruiz just gifted 20. And like all these people, Jeff Willard, Heidi, Christina, Kimbo Slice, Army Vet, I mean, Texas Mom, all these people getting memberships. And then he did 50? Oh, I can't even read all these people. Holy cow. And then he drops $5 at the end. Gary, we the people want the Trump dance. Well, you guys know the rules. We got to hit 200 in super chats. And we're a far cry from that tonight. So you guys got some work to do. All right, let's get on with the health freedom earthquake. What if the most devastating epidemic in American history was happening right in front of our eyes and powerful institutions were deliberately hiding it? Well, tonight we reveal shocking new statistics about America's exploding autism rates that the pharmaceutical establishment doesn't want you to see. Numbers so alarming, so catastrophic, they could upend everything we've been told about modern medicine. But that's just the beginning. RFK Jr. has just made an announcement that has Washington power brokers in absolute panic. The documents he's threatening to release could expose decades of what some are calling the most widespread medical cover-up in human history. Who's behind it? And what's really in our food, in our water, and our medicine? Tonight, we reveal it. And while we fight for health freedom nationally, you do deserve personal freedom from pain. Before taking another painkiller for your aching joints, you need to know about this turmeric breakthrough. A leading pain specialist discovered a turmeric extract 200 times more powerful than standard versions, attacking inflammation at its source. Now, this formula works like flipping off a pain light switch without injections or expensive treatments. It's especially powerful for those suffering from chronic pain conditions developed after years of environmental toxin exposure, the very issues RFK Jr. is now investigating. The evidence is compelling. So watch the free video at goldenrevive.com/NNN and reclaim your mobility naturally. It's linked below. So we got some bombshell breaking news. The globalists are panicking as Trump's HHS Secretary RFK Jr. officially declares war on Big Pharma and the toxic food industry. He's onto the autism epidemic, causing our children to be poisoned at record rates. The Great Awakening is finally here. So let's dive in. So the deep state, of course, doesn't want you to know Americans' children are being destroyed by design. Autism rates now 1 in 31 children, up from 1 in 36 just 2 years ago. And for boys, a terrifying 1 in 20 in California, 1 in 12 and a half boys. This is eugenics-level chemical warfare. Listen to RFK.
The ASD prevalence rate in 8-year-olds is now 1 in 31. Shocking. There's an extreme risk for boys. Overall, the risk for boys of getting an autism diagnosis in this country is now 1 in 20. And as high in California, which has the best data collection. So it probably also reflects the national trend, 1 in 12.5 boys. This is part of an unrelenting upward trend. The prevalence 2 years ago was 1 in 36. Since the first ADDM report in 1990, which was 1992 births, autism has increased by a factor of 4.8. That's 480%, I believe. The first ADDM survey was 22 years ago when prevalence was 1 in 150 children. In all the core states, the trend is consistently upward, and most cases now are severe. So about 25% of the kids who are diagnosed with autism are nonverbal, non-toilet trained, and have other stereotypical features, head banging, tactile and light sensitivities, stimming, toe walking, etc.
But the truth that they've been hiding. In the 1960s, researchers tracked 30,000 children with 9 separate screenings for every developmental disorder. Did you know that? They found just 14 cases of autism. That's 4.7 per 10,000. The epidemic isn't better diagnosis, it's chemical poisoning.
Collaborative. Between 1959 and 1965, researchers from 14 hospitals associated with major universities undertook the National Collaborative Perinatal Project, tracking 30,000 children from birth to age 8. This was no half-baked survey-based analysis. The study conducted 9 separate screenings covering neurology, psychology, speech, language, hearing, and visual function. Every developmental quirk, anomaly, and disorder was logged with painstaking detail. Autism, a condition characterized by profound impairments in social communication and behavior, would have stood out like a neon sign. There were 14 cases. That's 4.7 per 10,000. So we know what the historic numbers are. And we know what the numbers are today, and it's time for everybody to stop attributing this to this ideology of epidemic denial.
Epidemic denial, that's what's going on. But President Trump knows. In a historic cabinet meeting, Trump said, think of that. It was 1 in 10,000 children that had autism. Now it's 1 in 31. Check, this is a clip from that cabinet meeting recently.
What has caused the end? We are going, at your direction, we are going to know by September. We've launched a massive testing and research effort that's going to involve hundreds of scientists from around the world. By September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic, and we'll be able to eliminate those exposures.
So big. Think of that. So it was 1 in 10,000 children had autism. And now it's 1 in 31. Not 31,000, 31. That's a horrible statistic, isn't it? And there's got to be something artificial out there that's doing this. So you think you're going to have a pretty good idea, huh?
We will know by September.
There will be no bigger news conference on that. So that's it. If you can come up with that answer where you stop taking something, you stop eating something, or maybe it's a shot, but something's causing it. It can't be from 10,000 to, can you imagine that, Marco? That's a big number. Thank you very much. You're doing great. Thank you, Bobby.
But listen up, the autism crisis is 1,000 times more threatening than COVID ever was. 25% of diagnosed kids are nonverbal, non-toilet trained, with head banging and light sensitivities. The globalist poisoners have waged war on our children while laughing at our suffering. Here is what RFK posted today. The autism epidemic has now reached a scale unprecedented in human history because it affects the young. The risks and costs of this crisis are 1,000 times more threatening to our country than COVID-19. Autism is preventable, and it is unforgivable that we have not yet identified the underlying causes. We should have had these answers 20 years ago. And RFK just blew the lid off it all. It was an HHS press conference. New CDC data confirms autism up to 1 in 31 children nationwide. He's demanding real-time data instead of waiting 2 years like the deep state wants. The cover-up is imploding before our eyes. Here's a couple still photographs from that press conference that RFK Jr. held. History being made right there before our eyes. Now, the takedown has begun. RFK Jr. announces new studies to identify the environmental toxins causing autism. In just 2 to 3 weeks, he's going after the chemical poisoners who've been destroying our children for decades, and Big Pharma is shaking in their boots. Listen.
And within 3 weeks, and probably we're hoping in 2 weeks, we're going to announce a series of new studies to identify precisely what the environmental toxins are that are causing it. This has not been done before. And we're going to do it in a thorough and comprehensive way, and we're going to get back to with an answer to the American people very, very quickly. And within 3 weeks.
And what everybody is asking for, chemtrails exposed. HHS is finally assembling a team to investigate the aerial spraying program they've denied for decades. Nicole Shanahan confirms the investigation. Cloud seeding contracts exist across America. The sky poisoning operation is about to be blown wide open. Check this out, folks.
To bring creatively. And I do know that HHS is in the process of putting together a team to investigate this. Much is unknown. Some is known. We do know that cloud seeding does exist. We do know that counties throughout the United States have active contracts with private companies to cloud seed and thus bring greater moisture to arid lands. And this is all done under the umbrella of climate change mitigation. And so what we don't know and what HHS wants to figure out is the full spectrum of these activities and whether there is a fundamental missing regulatory body looking into harmful impacts of these practices. And
So it's happening. And the pharmaceutical cartel is collapsing. RFK Jr. dropping some truth bombs. Pharmaceutical drugs are the third biggest killer of Americans. Now he's realigning the entire medical establishment to serve the people and not the globalist profits. The medical deep state's in full panic mode. Listen.
Extraordinary. If you could change one thing about...
Now I should point out this is on CBS News of all outlets.
If you could change one thing about the pharmaceutical industry, what would it be?
I think what we need to do is to realign our incentives in this country at this point. Pharmaceutical drugs are the third biggest killer of Americans. And so pharma has given us extraordinary inventions and extraordinary medical treatments. But the profit orientation of the industry has sometimes given us also perverse outcomes and outcomes that, we need to do everything that we can to guard against. And what we are trying to do, our overall objective is to realign the incentives for the industry, for hospitals, for the entire medical establishment with our public needs, which is to make America healthier again.
If you could.
And he's also restructuring the food pyramid. A new one to replace the corporate-controlled poison guide that's been killing Americans for generations. The nutrition awakening is here, and the deep state food controllers are scrambling as their system collapses. What is the old food pyramid? Fats and oils used sparingly. Milk, cheese, and yogurt, 2 to 3 servings. Meat, poultry, fish, and dairy, 2 to 3 servings. Fruit group. But load up on bread and cereal. Yeah, that's going to change. And he met with big food companies, RFK Jr., and laid down the law. Toxic food dyes must be gone in 2 years. These chemical weapons cause cancer and neurological disease. They use vegetable dyes in Europe, but poison American children. The food cartel has now been placed on notice. Listen.
One of the first groups I met with after I was sworn in were the big food companies, all of the major food processors and producers in this country.
How'd that go?
And it went very well. And I think they're at the point where they see the writing on the wall. And, one of the things I said is that the food dyes are kind of the most egregious because they don't use them in any other country. They're clearly associated with a grim inventory of diseases, including cancers and behavioral diseases, neurological diseases like ADHD. And it's very, very well documented. And they're making, in many cases, the same products in this country that have those dyes, and then they use vegetable dyes in Canada, Mexico, and Europe.
So can't you say to them, hey, we want the stuff you're making there?
Yeah, that's what I said to him. And I said they all have to be out within 2 years. One of the first groups I met with.
All of them out in 2 years. Making America healthy again. The MAGA revolution spreading like wildfire across the states. Indiana just passed 9 executive orders to restore health freedom. Governor Braun says you're setting the stage federally and we will be your best ally at the state level. Check this out.
I've been to a bunch of states to announce MAGA initiatives over the past 3 or 4 weeks. This one really broke the bank.
Today's 9 executive orders reflect a new approach to health policy in the state of Indiana, focused on empowering everyone to live a healthier, happier, longer life. And today is where we begin.
9 executive orders, all designed to improve our farms, our fitness, our food, our education, our health.
These executive orders make it easy for moms to do the right thing for their kids.
President Trump, he often says that he wants to make America strong again. But we can't be a strong nation if we're not a strong people.
We have a generational opportunity to make this country as healthy as it should be.
You're setting the stage at the federal level. We're going to be your best ally at the state level.
We will make this great nation healthy again.
Well, thank you very, very much. Thank you all very much.
How cool is that, man? That's in Indiana. And the battle for our children rages also in Arizona. Brave legislators passed bills to remove soda from government programs and ban ultra-processed foods in schools. RFK Jr. says what we're doing to our children is criminal.
Health of the people. What we're doing to our children is criminal. We are now the sickest country in the world. And I'm very proud of these legislators and senators for standing up for the health of the people of Arizona. And again, I want to thank President Trump. President Trump has promised to make America great again, and that means he has to make us strong. And we cannot be a strong nation if we do not have a strong people. He's promised to restore to the American public the promise of the American dream. But a healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person only has one. And we have 60% of the people in this country today who only have one dream. And that's that they can make it through the day without discomfort, that they can survive to see their children grow. And we need to take care of these little ones. It is our obligation. It is the obligation of every member of this elected body. And let's call them to task when they don't do the obvious thing. This is easy. It's a no-brainer. And I'm very grateful to these legislators and very, very grateful to President Trump for allowing this to happen.
Inside the beast, RFK Jr. and Commissioner McCary stormed the FDA headquarters. Did you hear about this? Kennedy told employees to reimagine their roles and lead with courage and think boldly. The corrupt pharma approval machines being dismantled from within. The health revolution is unstoppable. Watch.
Hi, I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS Secretary. I'm here with Commissioner Marty McCary of the FDA, and I got a wonderful tour of this facility today. I saw some of the high level of innovation.
The simulation of aortic valve.
And it's all patient-oriented, or all outcome-oriented, and for me, it was a really exciting day.
If you walk forward, please.
We spent the day learning about the tools and models and AI and software and the great work of the career scientists here at the FDA to support inventors and developers and those who are discovering things on the edge of science.
So everything in here is a technology that we call additive manufacturing.
It's important for me to get out here and to meet the scientists, to meet the administrators, to understand the needs of this agency and what I can do as secretary to empower them to do their job of protecting the American patient.
Produced by...
The best job I've ever had, he said. RFK Jr. reveling in his position to destroy the health cartels from inside the government. More from his CBS News interview.
You've been a rabble-rouser your whole life from the outside. What's it like to be on the inside now?
It's good. I mean, it's the best job I've ever had. I look forward to going to work every day. I'm working with immensely talented people. And, as you probably know, the greatest joy of going to work every day is if you are mission-oriented and you're working with exceptional people. And, I have that privilege.
You've been...
And did you hear about this? Time magazine has named RFK Jr. one of the 100 most influential people of 2025, and the mainstream media can't ignore his unstoppable crusade to save America's children. Even the globalist publications must acknowledge his power because MAGA is winning. Time's most influential people. A healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person has only one. RFK Jr. Amazing quote. This is the battle for America's soul. We cannot be a strong nation without strong people, and the corrupt food and pharma cartels are crumbling. The American rebirth has begun. It's time to stand with us.
We're going to do is overall the autism is increasing in prevalence at an alarming rate. The study tests 8-year-olds who were born in 2014. And by the way, these studies are 2 years later than they should be. One of the things that we're going to do as we move this function to the Administration for a Healthy America, to the Chronic Disease Division, the new Chronic Disease Division, is we are going to have updated real-time data so that people can look at this, so Americans can understand what is happening with chronic disease in this country in real time, and not have to wait 2 years to react. We don't wait 2 years to react to a measles epidemic, and we should not, or any kind of infectious disease. We shouldn't have to do that for diabetes or autism.
So this is it. The great health awakening is here. Trump and RFK Jr. dismantling the poisoners' system piece by piece. The autism epidemic will be solved. Food dyes banned and our children saved from the chemical assault. Join the revolution now and follow the Next News Network. There's me in the White House press briefing room. So we have just witnessed the beginning of what could be the greatest health revolution in American history. RFK Jr. has exposed the shocking autism epidemic, rising from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 31 children nationwide, with boys in California at a staggering 1 in 12.5 rate. But he's not stopping there. We've learned he's now launching rapid response studies into environmental toxins, creating a new food pyramid to replace corporate-controlled guidelines, demanding removal of dangerous food dyes banned in Europe but permitted here, and even investigating aerial spraying programs long denied by previous administrations. The pharmaceutical and food industries are in panic mode as Kennedy, once dismissed as a conspiracy theorist, now wields legitimate power within the system. His mission is clear: identify the causes of America's chronic disease epidemic and restore health freedom to a generation of sick Americans. The great health awakening has begun, and you can support our efforts to promote it by going to the Next News Network merch shop. It's linked below, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Whoa! Alice Cersei. Giddy up. Oh, $49.99. RFK, you are great. I was beginning to doubt him. I am sorry. Yeah, that was an amazing segment that I assembled today. I saw what was going on with RFK, and I said, we got to dig into it. We got to find out what he's doing, what he's been saying. And that press conference was definitely an accelerator to that. Wait a minute. Our Boyd What? Just gifted 5 Next News Network memberships. Holy cow, man. We're at 76 new members today. Oh boy, what are they going to see when they go see the behind the scenes videos? Oh boy, well, it's not that bad. Here's a live look at the White House right now. Beautiful scene as the sun sets over the swamp. Happening right now. There it is. I will be there next week, returning to the White House on Sunday, hoping to get a glimpse of President Trump's likely return to the White House. You know, he generally goes to Mar-a-Lago for the weekend. I'm just assuming that he will be doing so at the end of next week, and we'll see. But you know, with what goes on at the White House, you never know exactly what the schedule is going to be. I mean, he could be flying to another country for all I know. So you just got to go and just roll with the punches. It's going to be a good time, though. I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's keep going. We got more news in the hopper tonight. What is going on with the new 9/11 discussions that are happening in this country? Well, well, well. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'm trying to understand here. Todd, you got 7 clips for us here to look at. Is that right? Some of these are kind of long. I'm not going to play all of them. Play them full. Okay. All right. Let's go. For 2 decades, asking certain questions about September 11th would get you instantly labeled a conspiracy theorist. But what if some of those questions weren't so crazy after all? Tonight, as momentum builds for declassification of long-held government documents, we examine evidence that mainstream scientists, military intelligence officers, and fire protection engineers can no longer ignore. What exactly did researchers find in the World Trade Center dust? Why did the government buy and destroy thousands of copies of a military intelligence officer's memoir? And what about that 47-story building that collapsed despite no plane hitting it? World Trade Center 7? Well, these aren't fringe questions anymore, and the answers might change everything that you thought that you knew. Now, the shocking truth about American health also can't be hidden anymore, like 9/11, questions that demand answers. A recent study reveals that nearly half of all U.S. adults have high blood pressure, yet only 1 in 4 has it under control. This silent killer threatens millions while the medical establishment pushes expensive pharmaceuticals. That's why I rely on this revolutionary formula with white mulberry leaf and cinnamon bark powder, clinically proven to naturally regulate blood pressure, balance blood sugar, and improve cholesterol levels. It's part of taking control of your health when the systems fail us. So get up to 40% off during the special promotion at boostwithgary.com. You'll find it linked down below. Now here's the moment I never thought that I would see. Tucker Carlson. That's right, Tucker Carlson. The man who used to mock anybody who raised a question about what happened on that day. Now digging deep into some of those questions, seeking the answers that we've long known. Building 7? Come on. Even seasoned demolitions experts have called it, without even knowing what it was, a controlled demolition. Scientists sifting through the dust. What have they found? Thermite? Where does that come from? Is that native in building construction and buildings in New York? Who owned the insurance contracts for those buildings? And who was that guy that said, pull it, moments before Building 7 decided to just collapse in its own footprint? Well, these are questions I never thought that I would ever hear Tucker Carlson raise. But he had a guest on that has now completely opened up the conversation again. It happened just a few days ago. Tucker Carlson's latest episode with Kurt Weldon, former representative, goes over why Hillary Clinton had to murder Muammar Gaddafi. Quote, but you think the people who are hiding the truth about 9/11 are capable of murder? He says, absolutely. Let's listen to this clip before we dive deeper.
The people who are hiding the truth about 9/11 are capable of murder.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess that would be obvious since 3,000 people were murdered that day.
Just like Libya. We were the ones that caused Gaddafi's death because Hillary Clinton played a game over there. And I was the one that went over there during the war. Gaddafi asked me to come over. I took a Biden staffer and a Bush staffer and a film crew leader from ABC One in New York, Larry Menti, with me, and a cameraman, because I didn't want the CIA to set me up. I hand-carried the letter back from Gaddafi offering to resign. The U.S. didn't want him to resign. They wanted to kill him.
Why?
Because Gaddafi, and I met him 3 times. I took Biden on my second trip to Libya, by the way. He went with me when I spoke to the whole country. At every meeting I had with Gaddafi, he wanted 2 things. He wanted to unite the African continent into a group of nations economically, like European standard gold, like the European economy. He wanted to base it on the gold standard. And the U.S. and Europe didn't want that. And the other thing is they wanted control of his oil, and they wanted control of his sovereign wealth. So Gaddafi had to go. That's outrageous, and it's wrong.
Yeah, but that, I think, sounds right to me.
I mean, but we've allowed so many of our kids to be drawn into conflicts, to be killed. And these people doing this they've never served in any capacity in our country. They've never been in the military. They've never served on a fire ground. And it's outrageous that they think they can get away with this and sit back and make all this money. It's outrageous.
I couldn't agree more.
Let's dig a little bit deeper, shall we? Before Kevin Ryan says that before he co-opts 9/11 truth for personal gain, Tucker Carlson needs to publicly apologize to Stephen Jones, DRG, and the families of the millions of victims of the 9/11 wars. Until he does that, looks like a CIA narrative manager and shameless opportunist. Remember what I just told you?
Yes. How you doing? I'm doing good. Hey, good to see you after we met briefly at the event in 2008 in Minneapolis for Ron Paul. Oh, that was fun. I remember that. But you had to leave early. What happened? Why did you bail on Ron Paul?
I'll tell you why. I didn't bail on Ron Paul. It's when Jesse Ventura got up and started saying 9/11 was an inside job.
He didn't say that.
Yeah, he did say that.
No, he said that it was curious why the FBI, had Bin Laden on.
Look, I'm the list. I got it. I was there, and but.
So you had to leave because that one controversial.
I was enraged by it. It wasn't controversial.
So you were personally enraged.
Let me answer your question.
Sure.
It wasn't controversial. It was stupid. And if there's any evidence that the government was behind 9/11, I'd believe anything if there's evidence, but there isn't any. So knock it off. That's my view.
Okay, but
and I said that to him.
Sure, but one stupid person says something stupid at a Ron Paul event.
Yeah, I hate that. And by the way, I am open to almost any crackpot theory about anything. It's just on that subject, come on. You know what I mean? That's too much. That even for me.
So just out of curiosity then, what's your take on Building 7? Which explanation do you believe?
Come on.
No, that's a serious question. Which explanation did it?
Which explanation?
There's 2 explanations. It was either it was pulled or it was isolated pockets of fire in the building that were sort of side effect from the 2 towers coming down that brought it down.
This is a no-win conversation, so I'm not going to continue it. But let me just say one thing: my macro view is the obvious one, which is the buildings came down because a bunch of nutcases flew a plane into them.
Okay, so are you still supporting Ron Paul?
I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm supporting Ron Paul. I like Ron Paul. I've always liked Ron Paul.
So, are you supporting anybody in the race this year?
No, I don't support. I don't even.
You're an objective journalist.
I don't even vote. I'm hardly objective. I'm honest. I'm not objective.
There you go. Certainly not afraid to speak your mind.
No, I'm not. No, you can assess my views. They're very clear.
You have any
but
message?
I hate that 9/11 crap. Wish they just kick those people out.
I mean, aunt was supposed to be on the 93rd floor.
Really?
It's important for people whose families were involved to know the truth, whether or not the government was involved or whether it was terrorists. But there's a history of government-sponsored terror throughout the past century.
Exactly.
So what do you mean kick them out?
I don't know. Whatever.
Anybody who's a 9/11 truther should be kicked out of the country?
Of course not. I don't even believe in parking tickets. I mean, please. I just don't. I think that people, before saying something that heavy, ought to present real evidence and not just.
Okay. Oh, man. How wild is this, right? Okay, let's dig a little bit deeper. Here we have Richard Gage, somebody I know personally. Tucker understands now World Trade Center 7 is kryptonite to the deep state. They've tried so hard to hide the videos of its collapse because once we realize they blew up a skyscraper in front of everyone on 9/11 and lied about it, their house of cards will be at risk. Watch.
Work for the INA, largest.
What began to make me wonder, and I have no idea what happened on 9/11, but it's very clear that there's a lot of lying around it, was the collapse of Building 7. And all the wackos would be like, Building 7, Building 7. I'd be like, shut up, wackos. And then if you just sort of look at it, you're like, well, that is very weird, actually. No plane hit that building. And does this happen a lot when buildings catch fire? Right, okay.
Besides being a firefighter, I work for the INA, largest insurance company in North America. I was responsible for training their fire protection arson people for 18 years. That doesn't happen. You never have a 47-story building just collapse, which this did.
What began to make me wonder, and I have no...
I mean, I am totally shocked that we have Tucker Carlson actually and finally addressing these points. I mean, it literally blows my mind. I mean, you saw the clip of him discussing, like, oh, this is all this crack pottery and all this, but now he's actually talking about it. Oh, here we have, let's go to Richard Gage. Here he is. Took 23 years to make it on screen, but here it is. According to architect Richard Gage, the Twin Towers in Building 7 were brought down by controlled demolitions. Fires never brought down a steel frame high-rise building ever. Watch this.
A wacky idea.
Well, I'm an architect of 20 years, member of the American Institute of Architects, and have been studying steel-framed, fireproof buildings for about that long.
We ask that for clarification because as we get into this, we want people to make sure that you're not just somebody with a wacky idea.
Right.
Okay, you come with some science to you. What is the official reason for the collapse of the World Trade Center towers?
Well, we're told that the planes hit the buildings and there was an explosion and a fire, and about an hour and a half later, in the case of the North Tower, the buildings collapsed due to structural weakening due to the fires. The problem is that we don't have large gradual deformations associated with collapses, and fires in high-rises have never brought down a steel frame high-rise building at all, ever. And what we have, unfortunately, is the evidence in the Twin Towers and the third skyscraper to collapse that day, which most people don't know anything about it. We have the evidence of the 10 key features of controlled demolition. In the case of Building 7, it collapses straight down into its own footprint at free fall speed in the first 100 feet. It's dropping, as you can see, symmetrically, smoothly, at free fall speed in the first 100 feet, 2.5 seconds. This is uncanny. There's 40,000 tons of structural steel designed to resist this collapse.
Is it, what, a 47-story building?
Yeah, this is called Building 7, right? A football field away from the Twin Towers.
Okay, so what we're showing is left what happened. In fact, right is a controlled where you are using, or the people who made this happen, used demolition.
Indeed, and this is a direct
devices.
comparison. And you can see that, indeed, almost free fall speed, free fall acceleration through 40,000 tons of structural steel. That is uncanny. So we have 700 architects and engineers demanding a new investigation as a result of this evidence and the evidence in the World Trade Center that is very explosive. Almost every architect and engineer we show this information to agrees with us that these are controlled demolitions. If we can get them to look at the information, because obviously the implications of a controlled demolition are dark for our country, because that means somebody besides Al-Qaeda was involved, because these have to be easily 3 of the most highly secure buildings outside the Pentagon.
Yeah, 3 of the most highly secure buildings outside the Pentagon. Check this out. Must-watch clip. Tucker Carlson, do you believe there were people in the U.S. government who knew 9/11 was going to happen and allowed it to happen on purpose?
Designed the footage, including the firefighter, the footage of the firefighter communication between him and the command center. You can hear him as plain as day saying, I'm on the impact floor, floor 78. We have 2 fires here. We can control them. And he's comfortable. He's not worrying about the building collapsing. He just walked up 38 floors and the whole building collapses. Tucker, it's a big lie. They are the only...
He just told Tucker it was a big lie. Wow. Let's keep digging a little bit deeper, shall we? What aren't they telling us? Too many unanswered questions. Time to look at all the evidence. Both sides of the debate deserve to be heard. The establishment fears this open discussion. Scientists found unusual materials in the World Trade Center dust that some claim are high-tech incendiaries. When tested in calorimeters, they showed surprising energy release. But the government doesn't show the findings.
Then I suggested, look, if these chips really are of an explosive nature or an incendiary of some type, then all it would take would be to put one of these things in a calorimeter and see what kind of energy we got out as we heated them up. I know they're energetic, so there's no question about that. I mean, the calorimeter's not going to lie to us.
As my materials scientist friend said, they blow up. We found that the energy release is very rapid, so it gives you a very narrow spike in the machine. We compared our spike that we got with a spike from known nanothermite, which is produced at a military laboratory. Their measured energy released with known nanothermite was less than these red-gray chips.
These chips have something to do, I mean, they're like an incendiary.
This pyrotechnic explosive material should not be in the World Trade Center dust, particularly in these large quantities. I mean, there are people in these buildings. What are these tons of explosives doing in there? Unless somebody really wanted those buildings to come down completely.
I mean, the evidence is there. Let's keep going. Here is Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer claims military intelligence identified 4 hijackers before 9/11. Why were his meetings with the FBI canceled? Why wasn't this in the 9/11 Commission report? Legitimate questions deserve answers. This is on CNN discussing prior knowledge
of. Did we know the year before 9/11 that one of the hijackers was a terrorist threat?
Army Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer has gone public with his charge that Able Danger, a military intelligence project he worked with in 2000, identified Mohammed Atta, even pulled up his picture along with 3 other 9/11 hijackers as possible al-Qaeda members.
We found the identities of 4 of the 9/11 hijackers prior to 9/11.
But he says beginning in September 2000, 3 meetings he set up with the FBI were each canceled by military lawyers. Schaefer also says he remembers telling then 9/11 Commission staff at a meeting in Afghanistan about Atta and what the intelligence unit found back in 2000. And he was surprised that it did not show up in the Commission's report.
I'm told confidently by the person who did move the material over that the 9/11 Commission received 2 briefcase-size containers of documents. I can tell you for a fact that would not be 1/20th of the information that Able Danger consisted of during the time we spent.
Why would our government buy and destroy 10,000 copies of Tony Schaefer's book, Dark Heart? What information was so sensitive they didn't want American people to see? The people deserve transparency. What happened to our right to know?
Memoirs are called.
So you're saying elements of the U.S. government worked really, really hard to hide the fact that they could have prevented 9/11.
What I can tell you unequivocally is there was a cover-up. Tony Schaefer got approval from his commanding general after this whole thing happened. His memoirs are called Dark Heart. So he wrote the book. He went to his commanding general to review the book as his protocol. His commanding general said, fine, Tony, there's nothing there that's a problem. publish it. Tony publishes the book. Our deep state finds out he's publishing the book. A cease and desist order is issued against the publisher. Stop publishing the book. It's too late. Our government buys all 10,000 copies of the first edition of Darkheart with taxpayer money, and they destroy them. So I asked Tony, you have the original version of the book, right? Yes, here it is, Congressman. You have the redacted version, right? Yes, here it is. What did they want out of your book that was so sensitive? What secret information were you giving, Tony? What classified information did your boss not see? He said, Congressman, the only thing they wanted out of my book was the fact that I named Zelikow and that I had briefed him in advance. That, Tucker, is treason.
Treason. Building 7 collapses, raises even more legitimate engineering questions. No plane hit it. Fire protection experts debating how a 47-steel building could collapse.
And what began to make me wonder, and I have no idea what happened in 9/11, but it's very clear that there's a lot of lying around it, was the collapse of Building 7. And all the wackos would be like, Building 7, Building 7. I'd be like, shut up, wackos. And then if you just sort of look at it, you're like, well, that is very weird, actually. No plane hit that building. And does this happen a lot when buildings catch fire? Right, okay.
Besides being a firefighter, I work for the INA, largest insurance company in North America. I was responsible for training their fire protection, arson people for 18 years. That doesn't happen. You never have a 47-story building just collapse, which this is.
156 witnesses reported hearing what they sound like explosions. Were they structural failures or something else? And why did news anchors openly discuss demolition theories on 9/11? All perspectives deserve to be examined.
I think a bomb went off in the lobby first, then a plane hit the building. Then another plane hit the other building. I just feel a little shook up because I got blasted.
As we were coming out, we passed the lobby. There was no lobby. But I believe the bomb hit the lobby first. And a couple of seconds in the first plane hit.
Explosion on the South World Trade happened, and I said, this is something we have to do. We have to back out. That's when I was caught again in the second explosion.
We were just dragging people along with us, and then when we came outside, it just blew. The tower blew. Boom, 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 boom.
And as the bombs were going, people just started running. I just turned around, and I just started running for my life.
I looked at which people in the fire department of New York had been in a position to directly witness the destruction of the Twin Towers. And I wanted to know how many described what they saw without mentioning explosions, and how many used explosions and similar terms, which I list, like blast, to describe what they witnessed.
Check this out. Okay, here's some more on that. Elvin Rodriguez, Red Zone World Trade Center survivor, explaining how ground shook before the towers fell.
Before the buildings fell, the South Tower fell first. I'm standing right in front of the South Tower, and the sidewalk shook. Everyone looked at each other. No one said a word. Everything went from like chaos to quietness. See the firemen start running out the building after the sidewalk shook, and approximately maybe like 30 seconds later, it collapsed, and the dust cloud chased me down Fulton Street and consumed me.
Your first name again?
My first name is Elvin Rodriguez. I'm a Red Zone on World Trade Center survivor, and definitely the sidewalk shook before the buildings fell.
Before the buildings fell.
Before, like about 30-40 seconds before the building fell.
But what about William Rodriguez? Years ago, I actually hosted him in Chicago to present his story, and I actually held the key that unlocked the doors in the stairwells for the firefighters. The key that saved so many people's lives. William Rodriguez was decorated by George W. Bush for his heroism on that day, and his story was omitted from the 9/11 Commission report. Why? Well, let's listen to some of that testimony. Here he is with Jesse Ventura.
No.
William Rodriguez was a maintenance worker at number 2 World Trade Center. He has a story that not only contradicts the official 9/11 account, but shakes it to its very foundation.
At 8:46, while we're talking in front of the office, we hear, bah! An explosion very loud. Pushes upwards. Upwards. All the walls shaked. They cracked. The false ceiling fell on top of us. The sprinkler system got activated. Water started spewing everywhere. Everybody screaming in horror. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Now, was this a result from the plane hitting?
No. This is before the plane hit in the town.
So this explosion
came from below. But the first thing that I thought it was that it came from the mechanical room that was on the basement number 2. I went to say, it may be when we hear, bah! All the way on the top of the building, and I speculated that it was the plane hitting the tower.
So these 2 explosions were completely separate?
Completely separate.
The official 9/11 story says hijacked jets brought down the towers, not explosive devices.
If you can remember, how much time would you say was between the 2 explosions?
6 to 7 seconds difference.
That close?
That close. And I wasn't the only one that felt this. There were the 14 people inside the office.
Did all you people tell this to the 9/11 Commission?
I testified for the 9/11 Commission behind closed doors.
Why behind closed doors?
Well, my speculation was that they didn't want the story to be out.
How does the last man out get left out of the 9/11 Commission report? We've definitely got the makings of a conspiracy.
Oh, but here's more from William Rodriguez testifying of what he heard.
I thought it was, and all of a sudden we hear boom! I thought it was a generator that blew up on the basement. And I said to myself, oh my God, I think it's a generator. And I was going to verbalize it. When I finished saying that in my mind, I hear boom! Right on the top, pretty far away. So it was a difference between coming from the basement and coming from the top. And everybody started screaming, and a person comes running into the office saying, explosion, explosion, explosion. He got his hand extended, and all the skin was pulled from his under his arm, all the way to the top of the fingertips, and he was hanging on both arms. Hanging and hanging. And then I look at his face, and he was missing parts on his face. And I said, what happened? What happened? And he said, the elevators, the elevators. And then there were many explosions, and when I actually talk about those explosions, they said that, well, there were so many kitchens in the building, and they have probably those gas canisters. And I said, I don't believe that, because the building was a Class A building. They have very strict guidelines of what you can put in a kitchen. And I really doubt it was gas in the basement. So there was a lot of misconceptions of what happened on that day in terms of the explosions. But up to date, I haven't received an actual explanation about the different explosions that I heard on the upper floors and all the way to the top.
Yeah. So, I applaud Tucker Carlson for bringing this to light. But the truth is, we need to get to the bottom of this. It's not a conspiracy. Americans deserve all the facts. So keep asking questions and don't let anyone shut down legitimate debate. So we've explored some of the most compelling questions surrounding the 9/11 tragedy that demand further investigation. From the unusual materials discovered in the World Trade Center dust to Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer's claims that military intelligence identified several hijackers before the attacks. There are legitimate concerns that deserve attention. The collapse of Building 7 remains particularly puzzling to fire protection engineers, given that no plane hit it. And the government's decision to reportedly buy and destroy thousands of copies of Schaefer's memoir, Operation Dark Heart, only fuels questions about what information they didn't want released. Over 150 witnesses report a hearing what sounded like explosions before or during the building's collapse. Testimony that doesn't fit neatly into the official narrative. This isn't about promoting fringe theories. It's about Americans' right to question and seek transparency about one of the most consequential events in our history. The families of 9/11 victims deserve nothing less. Support our quest for truth by visiting the link in the description, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Wow. That was amazing. And Todd, you had like 2 bookmark folders on this. That's what made it confusing. You had a TX and a T5. So, yeah, that made it kind of confusing. All right. Let's see what happened here. Irving has just become a member. What's up, Irving? Welcome to the family. 77 members and $83.99 in Super Chat so far. We are cooking here. Let's get on to our next topic. Trump taking command. While the media fixates on tweets and trivial controversies, President Trump just delivered a series of statements so consequential they could reshape global affairs for decades to come. From the Federal Reserve to foreign policy, from energy prices to European alliances, Trump's remarks today signaled a seismic shift in America's posture towards both allies and adversaries. What did he say about Jerome Powell that sent Wall Street into a frenzy? Why did his comments on Ukraine leave foreign correspondents speechless? And what's behind his surprising stance on Israel's plans for Iran? Well, the mainstream media is desperately trying to bury these statements, and tonight we're going to bring you what they don't want you to hear. And while President Trump brings down energy costs globally, you still need to stay warm efficiently. Just like Trump's decisive leadership cuts through bureaucracy, this little portable heater cuts through utility bill bloat. As Trump tackles the Federal Reserve's inefficiency, you can eliminate wasteful household heating costs with this targeted solution. It provides instant warmth wherever you need it. Perfect for those still chilly spring mornings. It features adjustable heat levels, quiet operation, and safety protections, energy efficiency that Trump would approve of. So get yours at staywarmnow.com with up to 60% off during their spring clearance, plus free shipping and bonus gifts with every single order. It's linked down below. So, big things happening in the Oval Office today. A reporter a short time ago asking about the Supreme Court on the oral arguments on birthright citizenship. And here's how President Trump responded.
Breaking news, a short time ago, the Supreme Court agreed to hear oral arguments in the case about ending birthright citizenship. How confident are you that the court will rule in your favor and allow that order to end birthright citizenship to go forward?
Well, you're just telling me that for the first time. I am so happy. I think the case has been so misunderstood. That case, birthright citizenship, is about slavery. If you look at the details of it, the signings of it, everything else, that case is all about slavery. And if you view it from that standpoint, people understand it. But for some reason, lawyers don't talk about it. The news doesn't talk about it. That's not about tourists coming in and touching a piece of sand and all of a sudden they're a citizenship. They're a citizen. That is all about slavery. And even look at the dates on which it was signed. It was right at that era, right after the Civil War. And if you look at it that way, the case is an easy case to win. And I hope the lawyers talk about birthright citizenship and slavery, because that's what it was all about. And it was a very positive, it was meant to be positive. And they use it now instead, not for slavery, they use it for people that come into our country and they walk in and all of a sudden they become citizens and they pay a lot of money to different cartels and others. It's all about slavery, and if you look at it that way, we should win that case.
Breaking news.
And of course we will. President Trump signing an executive order to restore American seafood competitiveness. Yum.
It's an easy one.
Very easy.
Hi, Mom. This is an easy one. This is crazy, huh?
About 80% of the seafood in the U.S. is imported.
Yeah. So imagine that. We import seafood, and we have the greatest coast of fishing in the world.
Okay, so in Maine, they do something similar. I think it's like 500 miles or something, some crazy thing. And Canada goes and they fish there. Other people fish there. Europe fishes there. The Maine lobster. You can't get Maine lobsters because Maine's forced to go for days out to some other area that's not as good. We have to free that up.
We'll have that on your desk next week, I promise.
Maine lobster, right? Yeah. It's incredible.
You did it last time and they undid it.
Canada fishes.
Biden undid it.
We're not allowed to. Yeah. I did it last time in Maine. And they undid it. That's why we have to stay president for a long time. Thank you, everybody. What an honor. It's a great honor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Did you catch that? That's why we need to stay president for a long time. Oh, boy. American Samoans react to the president unleashing commercial fishing in the Pacific.
Giving this great announcement, and thank you so much for your awesome leadership in giving back to American Samoa what had been taken away from us without even consulting with our leaders and people at that time. And
they just one day just took away 3 Californias.
Yes, and so this is such a wonderful gift to American Samoa, and of course it's also Holy Week beginning today, and so thank you for returning to our indigenous people this wonderful gift of our traditional fishing grounds.
It's such an honor to do this.
And Joe Biden took it away from them. Here we have more from the president signing a proclamation opening the Pacific remote islands.
All right, let's do this, right? That's an honor. You've seen that signature. I don't use AutoPen. You know, like Biden. Biden uses AutoPen. I didn't go
I think we know which side they're on, right? And, of course, it's just beautiful to see this, right? Let's keep going. A monumental occasion.
Samoa, Mr. President, this is such a great honor. You know, today in American Samoa, we're celebrating the 125th Flag Day. It's the first day celebrating when the U.S. flag was first raised there. At this very moment, they're celebrating that. So this is a monumental occasion for the people of American Samoa, and we are truly...
So this is a big thing that's going on right now.
Because we're a tuna-dependent economy. 99.5% of our exports is tuna.
99.5%? Yeah. Well, what about the other half?
And then about 80% of our private employment is related to the tuna industry. So, yes, this is a big thing for the territory.
So industry economy.
Right, what's this going to do in terms... It's so interesting to me. It's so horrible and so stupid. It's so stupid. We're talking about a massive ocean, and they're forced to travel 4 to 7 days to go and fish. It's probably a little more dangerous, the whole thing. So, what's this going to? How is this going to affect your business? It's going to be many more. I mean, you're going to be able to do much more business, I would think, right?
Yes, we would think that this will definitely result in more fish deliveries, and more fish deliveries is more economic gains for the territory.
And there's more from the Oval Office. President Trump discussing Florida State University.
Tallahassee. Thank you very much, everybody. And I've been briefed on the Florida State University, Tallahassee active shooting. I guess it's an active shooter. Fully briefed as to where we are right now. It's a shame. It's a horrible thing. Horrible that things like this take place. And we'll have more to say about it later. Thank you.
We got more talking about oil is way ahead of schedule, the president.
Great. Oil is way ahead of schedule, and that's because of our policies. But oil is down into the $60, $65 range now per barrel. And I told you, in certain states, we have less than $2 for gasoline. And food is down. Groceries, as we call it, are down. Other than interest rates, everything's down. Interest rates are pretty flat. It's not that they're up, but we should be better than flat. We should, if he would lower the interest rate, I think it would have a good impact on that too. But the costs are down. We have very little inflation. I would say we have essentially no inflation. Hard to have inflation when oil goes down, and oil goes down. When Biden came in, oil went through the roof. That's what caused our problem. That and his very dumb spending But when the oil prices go down, and they have gone down a lot, we've gotten it down really good. We've opened it up and we've gotten them down. And that means that people driving cars are going to be paying $2 and $2.50 instead of $4.50. And, you know, even at the end, they tried just for the purpose of the election to get it down. But they had really lost that sucker. That was really, it was not good. But if they had won, oil right now would be at $7 or $8 because of their policy. And we're going to be at about $2. Could be even a little bit less than that.
Buckle up, $2 a gallon. Comment below what the gas prices are in your town. Here he is talking about Italy.
If
do you think that Italy can be your best ally in Europe? And also, do you ever notice when you walk into the comments?
Only if the prime minister remains the prime minister can it be our best. she's doing a great job, and yeah, certainly one of our great allies, not just in Europe, anywhere. She's a fantastic person and doing a great job, and our relationship is great. And we have a lot of Italians in this country, I tell you, and they like Trump, and they voted for Trump. Anyway.
President Trump responding to a foreign fake news reporter who claims he called European nations parasites.
Avete discusso di Cina e della possibilità che l'Europa ponga dei dazi, diciamo, sulla Cina. Mr. President, are you sure about the definition of parasite of European? Could you say that again? That the European are parasites?
It's never said.
Could you say again that
the European?
Have you said that Europeans are parasites?
Yeah.
Have you said it?
No, I haven't said. I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking about.
You are fake news, right? Okay. Let's see. Oh, here he is talking about the termination of Jerome Powell.
Even if you on Jerome Powell, you said that the termination of Jerome Powell cannot come fast enough. He says he won't leave even if you ask him to.
Oh, he'll leave. If I ask him to, he'll be out of there. But I don't think he's doing the job. He's too late, always too late, a little slow, and I'm not happy with him. I let him know it, and if I want him out, he'll be out of there real fast, believe me.
Yeah, it needs to be. Reporter asking, how much longer does Putin have to respond to your ceasefire proposal?
Sanctions. How much longer does Vladimir Putin have to respond to your ceasefire proposal before you put secondary tariffs or sanctions on Russia?
We'll see what that will be. We're going to be hearing from them this week, very shortly, actually, and we'll see. But we want it to stop. We want the death and the killing to stop.
Scott Bessent in the Oval Office today says the administration is focusing on tariff negotiations.
We're doing very well with negotiations, I think, with all countries. And Scott could tell you a little bit, but we are doing very well. We have a lot of countries that want to make a deal. Frankly, they want to make deals more than I do. Go ahead, Scott. Would you say something?
Yeah, we've got a process in place. We're working on the big 15 economies. We had a fantastic meeting with Japan yesterday. I believe there have been calls with the EU already. And then we have South Korea coming in next week. And I believe India is also talking. That's moving very quickly.
We're doing.
So we've seen President Trump demonstrate complete command on multiple fronts today. He addressed the Tallahassee shooting with compassion. While promising further action, he warmly welcomed the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, building crucial European alliances and describing her as someone who's taken Europe by storm. On the Federal Reserve, he didn't hesitate to put Jerome Powell on notice. If I ask him to go, he will be gone. In the Russia-Ukraine conflict, he stated firmly that the war would have never have started if I was president. Millions now dead would still be alive. And when a reporter tried baiting him about supposed comments calling European nations parasites, Trump shut him down definitively. Perhaps most importantly for Americans at home, Trump reported tangible economic improvements, oil prices down, food costs down, groceries down, and inflation under control. This isn't just leadership. It's commanding the global stage with clarity and purpose. Support the Next News Network by hitting our merch shop in the description below, linked at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, something weird. I just got to send a message real quick. Where are we at? 77 members, 83.99. Our Boyd gifting 5. Okay, no changes to speak of. Let's go to our next topic tonight. What's on the agenda? We have yeah. Okay. Six celebrities, including Katy Perry and Gayle King, supposedly went to space this week. The media called it historic, but what if the entire spectacle wasn't what it seemed? Tonight we examine the bizarre anomalies that have online sleuths asking some serious questions. Why don't the windows match previous Blue Origin designs? What's causing the mysterious wind in zero gravity? And why did Katy Perry kiss the ground like she'd returned from Mars after an 11-minute suborbital hop with flawless makeup? Even Greg Gutfeld is asking, was this filmed on a soundstage? From edited footage to suspicious doors, the inconsistencies are piling up, and you won't believe who's calling it out. And just like those celebrity astronauts wasted rocket fuel on their space tourism stunt, most Americans are wasting electricity every day. Energy costs have skyrocketed by up to 60% in just 2 years, a stealth tax on hardworking families. That's why tens of thousands are installing this revolutionary device. It stabilizes electrical currents and reduces dirty electricity. Just like exposing the space tourism charade, this innovation reveals how power companies have been overcharging you for years. Simply plug it into any outlet, dramatically lower consumption. Thousands of 5-star reviews confirm the savings are real, and get 65% off, fast shipping, and a 60-day guarantee at don'twastepower.com. It's linked below. Get it before supplies sell out. So, everybody is asking what is going on. Now, initially it was like, okay, I'm not going to go there, but then I started seeing the posts. I said, okay, we got to ask the questions. We got to get to the bottom of this. I mean, people are raising questions, and we should present them and let you come to your own conclusion. So, the space scam exposed. Hollywood elites went to, quote, space for 11 minutes, and now they're being mocked by their own kind. The windows don't match. There's wind in space. Katy Perry is singing about wonderful world after wasting millions. So what really happened? Don't call it a ride, screams Gayle King, comparing herself to Alan Shepard, delusional. He was a real astronaut while he took selfies in Bezos' toy rocket. It wasn't frivolous? Then why were you all giggling like schoolgirls in the footage? Pure propaganda. Yeah, I saw a post. Everyone's like, wait a minute. They're like all taking selfies. They're all focusing on the cameras in front of them while you got the big, beautiful world outside the windows. Like, why the hell would you be staring at your frickin' phone when you could be looking out the windows? I don't get it. But let's listen to Megyn Kelly break it down.
Ride implies Gayle King upset because there's been a lot of blowback, and I'll play it in a minute, but like from Hollywood leftists, not just people like you and me, but like Hollywood leftists. These are the people who are supposed to love them, who are ripping these women to shreds. It's beautiful. And Gayle King is upset and had a few things that she needed to explain to those of us who don't understand what a hero she is. Watch.
Please don't call it a ride. That is not a friggin' ride. Whenever a man goes up,
You have never said to an astronaut, boy, what a ride. You know, we duplicated the same trajectory that Alan Shepard did back in the day, pretty much. No one called that a ride. It was called a flight. It was called a journey, because a ride implies that it's something frivolous or something that's lighthearted. There was nothing frivolous about what we did, and the machine that we were on, and what it took for the people to get that machine up and running, to get us up and get us back down safely. So, you know, I'm very disappointed and very saddened by it. And I also say this. What it's doing to inspire other women and young girls, please don't ignore that. I've had so many women and young girls reach out to me, and men too, by the way, men too, that say, wow, I never thought I could do that, but I see you doing it at this stage of my life. Who would have thunk it? Not me. And how inspired they are.
Okay, there's so much to go over. First of all, Alan Shepard walked on the moon, Gail. You did not fucking walk on the moon. Okay, you didn't do the same thing as Alan Shepard. And by the way, when he did his first space flight, it was the first space flight. Like, that's the reason it was exciting. It wasn't for commercial gain. It wasn't to promote Amazon. It wasn't with some woman with her tits hanging out who needed a little extra attention. Okay, so that's just first. Secondly, there's nothing frivolous about what we did. Let's just check in. We don't have to take her word for it. Let's see how it went on board the Blue Origin spacecraft. SAT 22, here they are in space.
Got it? 1, 2, 3, taking up space!
Flynn, I got you. With her Daisy?
I got you, Flynn.
Gotcha.
Stuffed animals. The moon! You guys, I have to tell you, look at the moon. That's amazing.
Wow, look at the blue line.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Whoa. That's amazing.
I can't.
Yeah, a lot of people can't. Gutfeld questions the whole thing. Do you think it might be faked? They were put in a rocket, shook the thing inside some soundstage. It was like a ride at Universal Studios. The elite space deception is crumbling as more people are asking questions. Watch.
Some sound.
Yeah.
Do you actually think this might be faked? But they don't know it's fake? Right. Like they were put in the rocket, they shook the thing. Yeah. Shook it. It was inside some sound stage.
Like a ride at Universal.
Yeah, it was like a ride at Universal.
Oh my goodness. Katie sang What a Wonderful World after refusing to sing her hits. She said, it's not about me, while making it entirely about her. The stage sentimentality shows how fake the whole mission was. Even her song choice was calculated PR move.
Oh, yes. But the best part was when we got back in our seats after 0 G's, Katie sang What a Wonderful World.
She did?
Isn't that nice?
Oh, come on.
She sang What a Wonderful World. I see dreams. Oh, yes.
Oh.
Because we'd been asking her to sing all the time, and she wouldn't. And then, because everybody said, sing Roar, sing Fireworks. And she said, it's not about me. I wanted to talk about the world.
Wow.
You know, isn't that nice? You got to ask her about that.
That's really special.
But the best part,
we're all going to ask her. 6 taking up space. They literally name themselves this. At least they're honest about one thing. Blue Origin calls this a tradition to seem legitimate, but real astronauts don't need bells and rituals to prove their worth. It's a circus act.
Bell. And here they come.
Here we go.
Loading into the capsule.
And the significance here of the bell, and I should note before I have you that each crew names themselves. They have named themselves the 6 taking up space, as each one is ringing a bell. And the significance of that is what, Ariane?
This is one of our traditions. All astronauts throughout history in various programs have had their traditions. For us, we always want our astronauts to ring the bell. And here they come.
If there's one thing that is true, they are taking up space. Model Emily Ratajkowski, this is beyond parody, caring about Mother Earth while using a spaceship built by a company destroying the planet. Even the Hollywood elite are disgusted by this environmental hypocrisy. Where's Greta's protest on this carbon bomb?
Paid for by a company that's that space mission this morning. That's end time shit. Like, this is beyond parody. Saying that you care about Mother Earth and it's about Mother Earth and you're going up in a spaceship that is built and paid for by a company that's single-handedly destroying the planet. Look at the state of the world and think about how many resources went into putting these women into space. For what? For what was the marketing there? And then to try to make it like, I'm disgusted, literally, I'm disgusted.
1, 2, 3, taking up space. Giggling and screaming.
Taking up space. Got it? 1, 2, 3, taking up space! Tamir's in space. Behind you, look at right behind you. It's okay. Leave Flynn up there. Flynn behind you, look at
Flynn, I gotcha. I gotcha, Flynn.
Gotcha. Proud of you, Flynn. Flynn, can I have? Oh, the moon! You guys, I have to tell you, look at the moon. That's amazing.
Wow, look at the blue line.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goddess!
Wow.
Oh my That's our pink moon.
Okay. Now it's time to look out that way.
Oh my
Space
gosh!
colonies.
So much. Oh my gosh!
Whoa. That's amazing. Got it? 1, 2, 3,
Taking up space! Yeah. We weren't just taking up space, we were making space for the future. The word salad of manufactured inspiration continues a supernatural journey about love and belonging.
Sure. I hope they can see the unity that we modeled and replicate that and understand that we weren't just taking up space, we were making space for the future. And for me, like Gail said, this wasn't a ride, it wasn't a destination, it was a journey, and it was a supernatural one. And my journey has always been about love and belonging. And I think that we have all felt that sometimes we weren't worthy or we didn't belong in certain ways, no matter all the accolades, no matter all the studying, no matter anything. And I think today we all said it, like, we belong here. This is...
Okay, sure. Here's the moment that almost ruined it. The fake space trip. Watch the door when the clip starts. They edit it out just before Jeff, quote, opens it. This is Hollywood fakery patriots. The windows don't match. The door glitches, and we're supposed to believe they went to space. What?
It's going to come out of her mouth, but really her heart.
And is that Jeff Bezos out there right by the capsule? Kind of hard to see.
That is correct. Jeff Bezos to open the hatch.
You didn't really close it again. Come on out, guys.
I mean, you can see the door open before he walks up to it right there. The door is already open. What the hell's going on here?
It's going to come out of her mouth, but really her heart.
And is that Jeff Bezos out there right by the capsule? Kind of hard to see.
That is correct. Jeff Bezos to open the hatch.
And here's what they're calling the smoking gun. The windows don't match. They are not angled out. They're smaller and perfectly rectangular. Where's all that wind coming from in space? Plus, they're packed like sardines when the real capsule has more room. Too many anomalies. Okay, let's listen to this.
They're also the windows. Look at the windows. Look how big they are. Look at the windows in there. These are not angled out like those windows. They're also much smaller. Let's go back inside. Let's check it out. Look how small those windows are, and they are not angled out. Yeah, look how small that window is compared to the actual thing. Those windows angle out. They're not perfectly rectangle. Those other ones are smaller, and they're perfectly rectangled. Yeah, I got a lot of questions about this. Plus, there's a couple scenes here where it's like, where's all that wind coming from in there? Also, from the pod on the outside, the spacing between the windows is much greater than that. Those guys are in there packed next to each other like sardines. This entire thing feels completely off. You guys saw the mistake with the door. This is what they take their time and space doing. Katy Perry holding up a flower.
And here is Olivia Munn. So you're basically on Magic Mountain, on Space Mountain? More from Megyn Kelly.
So many. Olivia Munn, she's an actress. She's got it. And I think she speaks for a lot of us when she's trying to espouse why so many on the left and the right had a visceral reaction to this.
Like, what are you guys going to do up in space? What are you doing up there? I mean, it's, by the way,
they're going for 11 minutes. They're going for 11 minutes. They're going up. I think they're going to float around a little and then come back.
So you're on, like, Magic Mountain. Like, you're just going up and
Space Mountain. More appropriately, Space Mountain.
Space Mountain. Think about, I know this is probably obnoxious, but, like, it's so much money to go to space.
Yeah.
You know,
yes.
And there's a lot of people who can't even afford eggs. I think it's a bit
over the top.
And yeah. I just think there are, the cover of Elle magazine. I mean, like, isn't that, I don't know. Space exploration was to further our knowledge and to help mankind. I mean, what are they going to do up there?
No, they're going to further the feminist agenda. Okay, take a look at this. Okay, check this picture out. Everyone is saying that this is a mannequin. Whose hand is this? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look like a real hand. It looks very strange when you zoom in on it. Something is definitely wrong with Blue Origin spaceflight. That Katy Perry was on. Social media users are asking, where are the re-entry burn marks? Why does it look like a fake hand? This world is so crazy. What do you guys think? I don't know. Yeah, lots of questions that deserve some real answers. Meanwhile, the simulation versus the reality. Musk rockets performing exactly as designed while Trump watches in amazement. SpaceX catching boosters midair while Blue Origin struggles with basic suborbital flights.
Booster Raptor, chamber pressure nominal.
And we heard the tower is go for catch.
Booster engine cut off.
The return flag is set for true.
Ship engine start up. Stage separation.
All right, hot staging confirmed. 6 out of 6 lit on the ship. Kate, Jesse, take good the views. Hopefully I got a booster coming home real soon.
Around the world in 25 minutes.
So, we've examined the highly suspicious Blue Origin space mission featuring Katy Perry, Gayle King, and other celebrities. The supposedly historic flight has raised serious questions about authenticity in the new space age. The evidence is troubling. Windows that don't match previous Blue Origin designs, inexplicable wind blowing, supposedly in zero-gravity conditions, and suspiciously edited footage where the capsule door appears to open from inside before Bezos arrives for his heroic entrance. And what about that hand? Even fellow celebrities are calling it out as beyond parody and comparing it to a theme park ride rather than an actual space exploration. The entire production, from the choreographed bell ringing to the emotional singing of What a Wonderful World, feels more like a Netflix special than a scientific mission. Space exploration was once about expanding human knowledge and challenging our limits. Today, It seems to have devolved into carefully orchestrated publicity stunts for billionaires and celebrities. America deserves better than Hollywood fakery in our final frontier. And support our quest for truth in the final frontier by hitting the merch shop, link down below at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. All right. Where is everybody tonight? Let's go to the main big feed of the Next News Network. Kyle Becker, 1 minute ago, confirmed the Biden regime ran an unconstitutional presidency. All of them broke their oaths of office. None of them ever get punished. This is unsustainable. The Constitution is the basis of our laws and all official government power. A thread that breaks down the Biden administration's once classified plan to surveil Americans and censor free speech in the United States. Holy cow. Yeah, we're going to bookmark that for later analysis from America First Legal. Yes, sir, we will. Todd, take notes. We're going to create that for perhaps, maybe we'll take a look at it tomorrow, for 18. Biden, let's call it. All right. David Harris, why in the world would El Salvador release an MS-13 gang member, yet it looks like they have? Here he is meeting with the Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen. Oh boy. Did that really just happen? What the hell is going on? Oh, they're just having a nice casual lunch. Oh boy. This is going to get interesting. Very interesting. I hope he flies back with them and then gets deported to Egypt. Let's keep going, see if there's any more news. Katy Perry. This is a great parody.
To keep learning. I'm just so excited to keep learning about STEM and astrology and astronomy.
Yeah. Harmeet Dillon is talking about what? Pulling the trigger on this sucker in Fed-appropriate stealth gray black interior four-wheel drive, long-range, full self-drive capability, standard issue rims, 3-year lease. Again, this is where a husband or father would be useful to clue me in, but many folks have. A Model Y? I don't know. I think I would want the first one. What's the first one called? Long-range dual motor, standard wheels, FSD, white interior are the prerequisites. I know everything about Tesla. Feel free to send me a DM. What? Kane raises $1 million in crowdfunding after killing Abel, Babylon B. So funny, dude. Okay, folks, that's the show tonight. And Patriots, what a mind-blowing ride we've taken together tonight on this 87th day of Trump's triumphant return to the White House. The globalists, deep staters, and media lackeys must be having collective heart palpitations after what we've revealed. We pull back the curtain on Trump's masterful trade strategy that has world leaders practically begging for meetings. Those failed tariffs just generated $21 billion while bringing manufacturing roaring back. The so-called experts who mock Trump are now hiding under their desk as reality vindicates him again. We expose the absolutely insane spectacle of Democrats defending MS-13 gang members while ignoring murdered Americans. Senator Van Hollen literally flew to El Salvador to try rescuing a deported criminal with domestic violence allegations. Meanwhile, the mothers of American victims can't even get their calls returned. If that doesn't tell you exactly who Democrats really serve, nothing will. And President Trump's Golden Dome missile defense system is a game changer that has American enemies trembling. With SpaceX, Planetar, and Anduril joining forces, we're witnessing the Manhattan Project of our generation. Same people who said it won't work are the ones who've been wrong about everything that Trump does. Then RFK Jr. blew the lid off of the autism epidemic with shocking numbers, 1 in 31 children nationwide now affected. He's demanding real-time data, banning toxic food dyes, and launching investigations that have big pharma execs reaching for their lawyers faster than their blood pressure medication. Then we ask the forbidden questions about 9/11 that deserve honest answers. From the mysterious materials found in the World Trade Center dust to Building 7's impossible collapse, it's not conspiracy. It's Americans demanding transparency about one of our history's most pivotal moments. And then Trump's command performance today demonstrated why he's the most feared leader on the global stage, delivering economic wins while putting everyone from Jerome Powell to foreign adversaries on notice. Oil down, food down, inflation tamed, and promises kept. And then we exposed that celebrity space mission for what it really looked like, a Hollywood production complete with suspicious edits, inexplicable physics, and makeup that defies zero gravity. Patriots, this information tsunami is exactly why they want us silenced, but with your support, we will only get louder. Hit the donation links in the description. Tell everyone about this show. Text them. And massive thanks to our super chatters and Rumble ranters. You're the backbone of this truth movement. 8598 in Super Chat and Curio23. Look at the FAA definition of astronaut, dropping $1.99. Thank you, Curio. Don't forget to grab our explosive new merch at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com before it sells out. Nothing says I'm awake like rocking some Next News gear in public. This has been the Raw Feed, where we don't just report the news, we detonate it. I'm Gary Franchi. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay armed with the truth, and remember, they're not after you. They're not after me. They're after you. I'm just in the way.